Okay. I think we should be live. According to YouTube, we should be live. So let me give it a minute for the video to pop up. And today we're going to be doing LN2 overclocking with Ryzen, the 3900X. Hopefully let me know in chat if you can hear everything okay and if the video is playing back properly. But yes, today is an XOC stream for the 3900X. Should be able to hit 5 gigahertz without any issue, really, I think. And we're probably going to leave memory alone for the most part and just focus on CPU. There's some stuff I want to show, some really interesting non-XOC stuff. We're going to use LN2 as a tool to do some other thermal demonstrations. And those will be in a separate video we have going up too. But we can go through some of them today. It's really interesting how it works. We are 5 by 5. All right, cool. So looks like everyone says it's all good to go. And also someone says, no, Mr. Beard. No, Joe's not here for this one, though. He's been doing his own streams on Bearded Hardware lately for RYZEN as well. So I think he's doing every Thursday or something. 30 to 60 minute delay on Superchats. Is that video delay or just because you'll be busy? I'll be very busy with managing the overclock. This is standard for us. I'll do all the Superchats, all of them through the stream up until towards the very end. I'll say, okay, no more Superchats. We got to close this out. But we'll do all of them. It's just you have to give us 30 to 60 minutes because there's so much going on that I can't just look only at them. Otherwise, there's no actual stream. Motherboard is going to be the X570 Master. And I think that should, is that a new PSU for the bench? It's actually one of our oldest power supplies that's good. It's like a 1200 watt, I think. 1200 watt NZXT Hale 90 V2 or something. Okay, so it looks like chat's loading up. People are joining in, and I've tweeted out the link. I think we're good to kind of just start talking through all this. So one thing I want to do is demonstrate the thermal scaling versus frequency. Like I said, we're going to have a separate video on this, but this is really important, and it's not even XOC stuff. We're going to use LN2 to demonstrate it, but I'm actually going to keep it above 0 at kind of like normal temperatures and even hot temperatures and demonstrate how the clock versus temperature scales. Ryzen 3000 is a lot more like modern GPUs than it is like CPUs in the past, to the extent that if you don't control your temperature in testing as a reviewer, like your ambient temperature, it can affect the scores in a pretty significant way. So this is something we've been researching the last couple of days. Patrick's been working on it. We have a whole special video going up on that that's getting finalized tonight, and then we'll have another one after that. But yeah, that'll be pretty interesting stuff that we can show as a preview today. I'm just going to kind of wait for chat to load in a little bit more. Let me get the first couple super chats before we get going. WC Kern, $2. So what CPU is this? It is not the 7980XE, a CPU that will be remembered for all time. It is a 3900X though, and I've got Roman's Beast LN2 pod on it, except if we kind of part the, Joe's not here, so I actually insulated it a lot. Joe has got a lot more experience than I do, so he isn't as paranoid about getting parts wet. But you can see here I've elegantly zip tied one half of the LN2 pot down to the board. It was the best I could do, but it's stable. It's like fixed now. And this side, it's just like an M4 through rod that I found, and then a couple, just a nut on the top of it to fasten it to the LN2 pot. So that's just because we didn't have the exact correct mounting plate for AM4. So zip ties hopefully will hold it for now. We might have some paste issues as we get going, but we'll see. And yeah, that's Der Bauer's Beast pot. We can get a top-down shot of it later once it's got some LN2 in it. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of surface area. Chris Tech Tips, $5. Woo, the first super chat. I'm so sorry. You were second by a couple seconds. Watching from the UK. Well, thank you, Chris Tech Tips, for watching. I'm sure you'll give Linus a run for his money. Zachary Blair, $1. Thank you, and $1 again. Thank you. Phoenix 1861, $4.99. Thank you, and Buildzoid for all the X570 content. I'm running a 6600K on a Z170. AAA gaming. Should I upgrade to Matisse or wait for Ryzen 4000 series? I don't know how long that wait's going to be. We don't even really have any information. Well, we do. We do have a bit of information. They had a roadmap for Zen 3. I don't remember when it was supposed to be, but it's public, though. You could find out. If you're on a 6600K, that's a pretty good CPU already. And if you overclock it, you'll be good for a while. But it is an i5, so if you feel like in some of your games there's some variability in the frame times, like if you see stuttering more often than you'd like and you can diagnose it down to the CPU, 3000 series is a good family of processors thus far, so I certainly wouldn't feel bad about that upgrade. I'm going to read 2 more and then get going. Melise Barbosa, $20. Thank you very much. Jesus Hair on steroids. Benedict G, $5. Still no 3900X in Germany, probably for another week. I didn't know that, but I've heard that there's availability issues. So, okay, we've got 2,000 people in chat, or in the stream anyway. What is the LN2 pot? It is the Der Bauer Beast. So that is Roman's. He obviously has a YouTube channel as well. You probably know who he is. But he made that one. He sent it to me a while ago, and we're finally using it. So I need to fill a couple of these, and then we can get started. I'll give the quick walkthrough of this stuff again, I guess. I don't know how many of you can sound off in chat. How many of you... No, there's bearded hardware. Can we stop chicken clocking? Well, Joe, unfortunately that never stops. Unless Tin is around, and then all of the fun stops and it's very serious. Until he starts throwing LN2 at Vince. So, sound off in chat though if you've seen these streams before. I want to get an idea. You just give a yes or no. I want to get an idea for how much I need to explain on the basics here. Which monitor is this? I should have linked that in the description. It's some Aorus monitor, Gigabyte. We ran it as an ad for a while. 27QD, AD27QD, I think. Okay. So, looks like a good amount of people have seen these before. I'll do a couple of no's in there. It's about 30% no. So I'll do some basic explanation, but not too much. What we've got is liquid nitrogen. It's contained to my left right now in that big cylinder. That comes from a local supplier. That's a 180-liter cylinder. We've had most of it leak out, unfortunately, when it was on the truck coming here. And that costs about little under $180 for one of those. We've found that they preserve if it's a good tank, they preserve for maybe 2 months or so. Might be a little bit more. And then you kind of have to, you'll have very little left at that point. This is a dewar. This is a 30-liter dewar. I use this transfer hose to move the liquid nitrogen from this tank, which is, I think they're vacuum sealed, I'm pretty sure is the correct terminology. It's like a tank within a tank, vacuum chamber, I don't know. But tank within a tank, so that should hold longer than these. You use a transfer hose. These are about $400. They're really expensive. And that transfers into one of these. These are also a couple $100. If you buy new, it's like $500, $600. So that contains our LN2. It's got 30 liters in it for today. That's got maybe, I don't know, 50, 80 left, something like that. No gloves. Yeah, we should talk about that too. So a couple things on, because I know these questions are going to come up throughout the stream. Safety with LN2, the only real thing you need to worry about is displacing, I guess, the oxygen in the local atmosphere with the LN2 exhaust, the nitrogen. So the way, as this is Joe's demonstration, Bearded Hardware, I think he's in chat, or he was anyway. You can find, just do a YouTube search for Bearded Hardware if you want to watch him later. But Joe's demonstration that he showed me was, can you light a torch, yes or no? And if you can light a torch, there's enough oxygen in there. What BuildZoid told me is if you start to feel dizzy, leave the room, because you kind of go from dizzy to dead if you replace all the oxygen. But it is not a concern for us. We're in a very big open space here. And not only is it a big open space, but we've got AC running constantly. So ventilation's no issue for us. But that's something that's important to know if you did want to do this. Other points. So people asking about gloves. The problem I have with gloves, first of all, if you do want to use gloves, you use special gloves that are rated for this stuff. Because if you just use like any workman's gloves or something, they won't resist the cold. It can stick to your hands. And so the concern with LN2 is soaking. It's not contact. So soaking would be like you pour it into your shoe, and then you just stand there in a puddle of LN2. LN2 mostly will evaporate immediately, as you can see there. So do I need to do that again for camera? No. So it mostly evaporates straight away. If there's enough of it where it's like all kind of pooling together, it'll like in here, then it won't evaporate right away, and you can have it soak into your sock or something, and that'll hurt. But if it's just contact, there's no real, doesn't hurt. So that's the safety walkthrough. As for why don't I use gloves, they get in the way. So they get in the way to the extent that it's more dangerous to use the gloves than not, because if you're trying, think about like trying to handle these thermoses with the gloves. It's not particularly dexterous to do so. You're going to be inaccurate in pouring, and like this, and you're more likely to spill on yourself with the gloves than without. And if you spill on yourself just like a glazing, I guess it won't hurt. So that's the explanation. Hopefully we can leave it there for the most part. Let's turn this thing on. No LN2 in there right now. Light and frost effect. Yes, that is, if you want to look up why that happens, that's what you look up, light and frost effect. You missed. So anyway, that's there's your walkthrough. Okay, so I'm booting this thing. I think we're going straight into Windows right now. Yes, all right, cool. And Bearded Hardware doing a super chat for $2. Let's go, do we need to, let's do a base run. So Bearded Hardware says, don't hurt yourself, slacker. All right, what we're gonna do is actually a demonstration first. So I'm not gonna start with the overclocking. I wanna start with stock performance. Actually, I need to make sure BIOS is set up correctly for this. So RYZEN 3000, like I was saying before most of you joined in, has some very interesting behaviors in that it's really thermal dependent this time. The cooler you use will greatly impact the performance of the chip. This is something coming up in a video that's being finalized today. So cooler performance matters a lot. If you use the stock cooler, even if it can support it, you can almost certainly get more performance out of a better cooler. And this is kind of, like I said, more related to the way GPUs perform these days, where you get clock boosting based contingent upon things like thermal. And we're just going to do XMP for this, at least for now. Oh, actually, this is a different kit of memory. I haven't tested this one. So yeah, it's all fine for now. So the boosting contingent upon thermals is something that we can demonstrate as stock performance, where we're going to go into the PBO menu and explicitly disable it. Okay, it's off. So the CPU is behaving as stock right now. The only thing we've changed is the memory, and I'm not sure if those settings are going to be stable. I haven't tested this kit on here, but I think that should be all we need for this demo. So we've changed nothing basically, except for making sure PBO is explicitly disabled. Let me get a couple super chats while this is booting. So we had one from Jacob Morris, $1, no message. Thank you. The Garland family, $2. You deserve this money. Thanks for your help and advice. Glad that it helps you. And hopefully you've got some kind of PC build project that we've assisted with recently. Little Schmuplet, $5. If I can sell my 2700X for $250, is the upgraded single-threaded performance worth the $80? I'm assuming to a 3700X. $80 is pretty good, so I'm going to go with yes. Green James, $2. How do you overclock your hair? With we've done those ads with the EVGA CLC 280, I think. What temperature are we at on here? Oh, we're pretty good right now. Okay. Pot temperature, 29. I think memory might not be stable the way I said it, so we'll just boot back in. Oh, I pulled the Joe. Unplugged the SSD so that we can boot into BIOS faster, which also means that it won't boot into Windows because there's no SSD. All right. Addison Wilkes, $5. Would you ever consider building a phase change cooler? Would make a cool video series. Consider yes. Know how to? No. Got Bearded Hardwares, Joshua Bell, $5. Do you think Gen 4 will attack high-end iGPU workloads? I don't know. Don't think so. Okay, cool. It's booting. Me and Eric the Red, $1. Thank you. Oh, Bearded Hardware again. LN2 Slacker, do I have to buy a 3900X to hashtag RipGN? I mean, if you want to go, you can just come up here and we'll do a stream. Ooh, that would be kind of cool. Do like set Joe up on that table or something and do like versus. That might be kind of interesting. Joe will have to sandbag it. Okay, I'm just going to use R15 here because it's fast, and we might use R20 later. So what we're going to do is the frequency demonstration I was talking about. There's one question I explicitly wanted to answer, and we'll get all of them, but where is it? Ali Robertson, $2.99. Is the 3800X embargoed? Isn't it best for single core? It is not embargoed, but it's not out. We can't get it. Can't even buy it. Okay, so here's the demo. Where's our temperature? Temperature on the CPU is currently 46 to 55 apparently. We don't have any LN2 in there right now. And what I'm going to do, I want everyone to pay attention to the scores and the frequency we're at versus the temperature. Let's pop that out separately. There's our frequencies. And Andrew, do you need me to angle this more towards the camera?
That's good.
That's good, okay. I'll move this out of the way. Okay. I'm gonna have, we might hit a thermal issue. Okay. So we have no LN2 in here right now. Let's get a baseline for just R15. Temperature is currently about 70. That's just the LN2 pot soaking right now. No LN2, as I said. Be very clear about that. And I'm going to take notes on these results while we go. So at roughly 71 degrees Celsius, all stock, PBO explicitly disabled as it's not stock, we got 3174 points. Okay, so keep that number in mind. Let's run it a few more times and heat up to around 80. Let's see if we can run this at maybe 80, 85. And we need to pay attention to frequency too. So we're roughly 4075 megahertz here. And you'll see the point I'm getting to as we go through it. 4050 to 4100, depending on which thread's getting hit. And I need to take a note of that. So we were at roughly 4050 to 4100. Let's call it 4075. And then this is just more of a tech demo, I guess, to really show the behavior. So what I want to do is intentionally heat the CPU up and keep this running as we go. So we're going to get it. We're at 75-ish. Let's keep running it a few more times, and we should eventually hit the 80 number that I want to demonstrate this on. Guess we'll just keep this over here and not click anything. There we go. We're about 80 now. So let me run one more time now that we're 80. So now we're still in 4050 range, but we're closer to 4050 at this point than 4075 and 4100. So now we're more or less locked at 4050 on all the cores. We're even dropping to 4025 in some instances. That was at 78 degrees. So the point I'm making is that, and also our score is now 3140 from 3174 originally. So the point being made is that thermal will impact the frequency and thus the scores. And so now, this is without LN2, that is correct. we're going to demonstrate what it boosts to with LN2 next. So now what I'm going to do is do a controlled decrease in temperature. We're not going to go full pot right away. We're not going to go like minus 100. What I'm going to do is probably just bring it down to maybe 50 or so. And, well, we're fine. I was going to change the update frequency by request, but it's fine for what we're doing. So I'm going to just try and, I'm not going to go too hard for this. We only want to come down to maybe 50, let's call it 60 maybe, because I did a 70 run and an 80 run. So we're a little too hot still. We're basically where we were before. Let's bring it down some more. So this is a practical demonstration. I want everyone to be clear on that. Even though I'm using LN2, I'm using it as a tool to control the temperature for purposes of a practical frequency versus thermal demonstration, like you would encounter with sort of a stock cooler versus maybe a good liquid cooler. So we're currently around 50. It's still coming down, but it's also not doing any work right now. Let's give it a second to soak. And I'll do the super chats and stuff in a moment. Like I said, if you buy anything from the store during the stream too, like the new GN toolkit, you can go to store.gamersnexus.net, and I'll try and shout out the orders if you pick one up on the store during the stream. Okay, so we're at 30 when we're idle. Let's see what that gives us. Pay attention to frequency. Now you can see a very big jump. We're at 4150-ish, plus or minus 25 either side, and that's at about 60 degrees. 63. Let's call it 59 to 63 because it does change throughout the test. And that gave us about 4150. So you can start to see how this is. I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is making it colder, and it's not even that cold. It's a temperature you could reasonably achieve with like a 280 millimeter liquid cooler. So that increased our score from 3174 to 3205. And so the point I'm beginning to make is that temperature matters a lot, especially if you're a reviewer. In our case, controlling ambient. If you test one day at 80 degrees Fahrenheit room temperature, or let's call it like 21 C, next day maybe you test at 25 or 6 C, that can impact the results and make the data incomparable. Because RYZEN is getting the most out of its clock at this point. It's like GPU boosting behavior where they're pushing it to try and get as much as possible based upon the thermal, the power, the current situation. So we're at roughly, let's see where we are loaded. We're at 50 or so, plus or minus 2. No, it's going higher than that, maybe 55. 4200 though, at roughly another 5 to 7 degrees lower than we were last time. So we've gotten another maybe 25 to 50 megahertz out of the clock by doing literally nothing except for colder. So hopefully this is interesting. I will I'll read some of the chat and see if anyone what people think. Does this demonstration make sense? Do you follow? To be really clear, a lot of new people have joined in, so to be really clear, what I've just done is we're using LN2, but I'm not sub-zero. I'm above ambient temperature, and we're just demonstrating with PBO off how Precision Boost 2, which is different from PBO, behaves natively, just by changing your cooling solution, like air cooler versus whatever. So, it looks like chat finds this pretty interesting. Cool, good to hear. What is PBO? PBO is Precision Boost Overdrive, which is, quickly too, what motherboard? Gigabyte X570 Master. Precision Boost Overdrive is different from Precision Boost. Precision Boost 2, technically, is what XFR has been rolled into, extended frequency range. So Precision Boost 2 allows the CPU to boost to different clocks, again, contingent upon the thermal scenario, the current limits that are stock set by AMD, by the CPU, or you can override with motherboard limits. But PBO is where you start overriding stuff. So Precision Boost Overdrive basically says, in theory, ignore these limitations and just boost as much as you can. And we have a really detailed video on that coming out imminently. So I'll leave that explanation there. You can check out the video for a really full coverage of it. Patrick's been working on it for a couple days now. So okay, that's the demo I wanted to do. Well, let's bring it down some more though. So our last score was 3246, doing literally nothing. And that was at about 55 degrees Celsius. Let's get another number. So we'll do a scaling all the way down to below 0. Where are we? We're still too hot for this, so we're at like 37 right now. Let me let that soak and cool for a moment. What CPU? It's a 3900X. So what we're demonstrating is how frequency scales versus temperature without any manual overclocking. Cooper, $10. Thank you. Thank you for the insightful content. How would you split that CPU's cores for 2 gaming VMs, i.e. number of cores? Would setting 1 chiplet per VM improve FPS, 2080 Ti for one, 5700 for the other? I think in theory it would, but I have not tried that, so I'm not really sure. But I believe in theory that makes sense. Adam Bellinger, $2. Will power consumption on the X570 chipset get better? From what I understand, AMD was telling us that the chipset power was supposed to be one number, like 11 to 14 watts is what they gave us originally, official number, and then the board partners told us that the chipset didn't do any downclocking and it burned that amount of power constantly, but that later it should change. So I don't know if that's going to turn out to be true or not, but that's what we were told. RWD Turbo, $2. Your mom. You are mom. YOU_RE mom. Ben R, $2. Ooh la la, RTX ponytail off. Okay. All right, let's keep going with this demo. So, I need to cool it down some more. Oh, that's actually plenty cool for this. So our pot temperature is minus 2.8, but we are still above 0 because there's a big delta because I don't have a great mount. But so we're running at 36 now for this. And let's see what that scale is. We're at 4225 to 4275, 3257 points. Previously it was 3246 points, and that was at about 36C, 32, did I say 7557 is what I meant to say. And that was at, let's run it one more time. I think that was at 4225 to 42, yeah, 4250 right there, 25. So basically 4225 is what we're getting. And originally, to recap, when we were at 71 degrees Celsius for the CPU temperature, which is not unreasonable for you to run your own CPU at, that was a 4050 to 4100. And now we're at 4225 by getting down to 36 degrees. If you want to be more reasonable, 55, we're at 4200. So pretty cool stuff. Let's bring it down more. Again, no actual overclocking yet. We'll save that for later. Just a tech demo of how Precision Boost functions, because we found this out. I kind of noticed it yesterday and thought it was very interesting. So let's run it at roughly 26 degrees Celsius. That's a bit warmer than that. We need to go a bit colder still. We're 6 degrees lower on average for this run than the previous. That was still a higher score, but I didn't pay attention to the frequency numbers. So let's get it to like, maybe let's try and run it at maybe 26 for this one and keep going. This is multi-threaded. We could do single though. That's a good point. Okay, so we're running this one, let's call it 18. It's plus or minus 2 because the start and end temperatures are obviously different. And we're at 4250 to 4300 now. So 4300, quite a big jump. And that was like 18 degrees. 4250 to 4300 from I think this is pretty telling of why you should get a good cooler for these chips, because it's like getting a good cooler for your GPU. It's starting to really matter. And that will impact the performance in benchmarks or in gaming a lot, actually. I mean, we're looking at, so far, let me recap the numbers for those of you who haven't been here since the beginning. Very quickly, 71 degrees Celsius. We don't even need the Cinebench scores at this point. 71 degrees Celsius, the frequency was averaging 4075 megahertz. 78 degrees Celsius, the frequency was averaging about 4050 megahertz, rough numbers. 59 to 63 degrees Celsius, it was averaging 4150, so we're coming down now. 55 degrees Celsius was getting close to 4200. 36 degrees were 4225. 18 degrees were 4250 to 4300. So that's a range of about 250 megahertz top to bottom, which is a lot. I mean, that's meaningful for performance impact. So this is all just Precision Boost 2. PVO is disabled. Someone asked, how long will the LN2 stay in here if I don't use it? I'm not sure, but at least a day for sure. We empty them out though at the end of the session. One, to keep it, to preserve it, and two, it's just not really good to leave it exposed in an open container anyway. So temperature monitoring is broken at this point. We are below 0 on the CPU. Our clocks are 4275 to 4300, and our score is now 3303 points, which is not error, so we're going to call it below 0. We can't actually see the temperature anymore. It says 1.3, but it's bugged out. 3303, and that was 4275 to 4300. So that's probably going to be close to the end of our scaling, but let's drive it down some more and see how low the frequency will keep scaling. So need to fill up one of these. Pretty cool demo though. I mean, it really, this is all up until that last one was above ambient. So it really starts to drive home how much this stuff matters for Ryzen 3000 series. I'm gonna get to chat in a second. I see a good amount of them. Why not put something on top of the pot? If you mean like a fan, it's because it would get in the way. Oh, what happened here? I didn't notice it stopped spinning. But if you mean like a cover, we don't want to cover it. Weird. I don't know what happened. Well, whatever. Fan's not working. I don't know if it's a motherboard bug or a fan issue. Let me try and get this. I'm just running the fan to kind of get the exhaust here away from the rest of the components so we don't have too much stuff freezing over. Nope, fan's dead. Okay, well, let me pull that for a second. So we'll do the some lower temperature tests. We're eventually going to hit a cold issue and blue screen. But that won't be till probably like, I don't know, maybe until the reader says maybe minus 80 or 90. Okay. Yes, so let's see, pot temperature is minus 64. Let's go ahead and just run it like that. 4300 across most of the cores constantly at this point. I think we're probably at the end of the scaling here. So minus 0 still. I guess I'll start writing pod temperature at this point. And that score, wow, that is some scaling. 3316, so we're still scaling. You won't move this? Oh yeah, sorry. Let's do another run. No voltage settings changed, no frequency settings changed, just allowing the CPU to do what it wants to do. All the limits are in place, current limits are in place, temperature limits are in place, not that those are relevant. So we're at 4300 flat now at minus 76 pot temperature. So, and that is, we've stopped scaling and score for the most part. So 4300 flat. So I think, I think that's more or less the demonstration for scaling on Precision Boost 2. Let's just drive it down, pot temperature maybe minus 90. I think we're gonna blue screen here pretty soon, because I've had issues with this system bugging out at minus 90 pot temperature. Yeah, so it's not scaling. I mean, it's just straight 4300 the whole test, and that's up from an original like 4050 megahertz for the 78 degree result, or 4075 for the result that I did first. And we have stopped scaling now. We're with an error in the score. All right. So there's your demo. The next thing I need to do is actually overclock this. And I personally thought that was the most interesting because it's a real demo up until the -0 stuff. It's a real demonstration. Yeah, there's our blue screen. Real demonstration of how Ryzen 3000 scales frequency versus temperature, and hopefully that kind of helps you understand why you should actually invest in a good cooler for these, because if you do run the stock cooler, although it may be capable, and although you might not be overclocking, the end result will be affected, especially in a bad case. It kind of reinforces the reviews of bad cases we've done recently. All right, so let me get some super chats and store stuff and then start the real overclocking. Couple orders. Like I said, if you order during the stream, I'll try and shout it out. No guarantee, depending on how many super chats I have to juggle too, but I will try to do it. Joshua in Washington picked up a GN logo shirt, which is the one I'm wearing today. Thank you for picking that up. We had an order from Wayne in Washington as well. Picked up a teardown toolkit and a medium mod mat. Thank you for that. Washington is popular today, representing. Indiana, Seth picked up a keychain logo. I'm gonna get 2 more of these and then keep going. Nathan in Florida grabbed a teardown toolkit. And then, actually, we've only got 2 more of these to read total. James from Wisconsin grabbed the teardown toolkit as well. And then Jacob from Pennsylvania grabbed the teardown toolkit. And the last one I'm going to read is Joseph from Washington. Again, Washington's busy today with store purchases. Picked up a teardown, a mod mat, and a toolkit. Thank you. Okay, so chat. What are the? Do you have the 3800X? No, we're waiting until it's available publicly. This is PBO only, guys. Not any. This is not PBO. This was Precision Boost. So, again, this is why we need this. This is why the video has to exist. The one we're working on. PBO is not Precision Boost. They are different. Precision Boost Overdrive is PBO. Precision Boost 2 is part of the CPU's native behavior. So it was not OCing, that part of the comment's correct, but it's also not PBO. We had PBO explicitly disabled. So I want to be really clear on that. This was not, there was no overclocking here. This was stock behavior. Okay, so hopefully that helps. All right, a couple super chats, and we need to get into BIOS here. I think, oh, actually it's too cold, so I'm gonna need to torch this. But let's let it warm up a moment, because you're not gonna be able to hear me when that torch is going. Crack on PC, Hong Kong 25, thank you very much. Is this 28 cores, 5 gigahertz? Where's the secret chiller? It's not, and the chiller is not very secret either. Can you imagine if someone tried to do a demo on stage with this kind of like sitting there and they just never mentioned it and they led you to believe that was stock frequency? It'd be a little obvious. RNX Bike, $1, thank you. That Colin Guy, $1. And again, $1 from that Colin Guy. Brevin Jorgensen, $2. Thanks for all you do from Nebraska. Thank you. Or maybe it's Jorgensen if you're in Nebraska. I'm Fleary, my dude. 50, I think, Swedish kroner. What's the max safe voltage for the 3900X when OC without LN2? The word around Reddit is 1.325, but many YouTubers went way beyond. No idea. I don't have enough data yet. I spoke with some people, some XOCers from AMD about this question. I did write down the answer, but I want to say they were typically running 1.4 for their air overclocks. That doesn't mean it's safe. As far as many YouTubers went way beyond, well, I mean, yeah, because it gets the job done and we just need to run it through one round of tests. But if you're using it 24/7 for years, then be a bit safer on it. We found that our 3900X did a 4.3 overclock at 1.35 volts was the lowest we could go. Let me read a couple more of these. Bearded Hardware, $1.99. I want my $2 worth. Plug the SSD in. Well, Joe, if you wanted $2 worth, you should have given $2, not $1.99. But you can get your $1.99's worth when I say Bearded Hardware has a YouTube channel, and you should watch them sometime. I'm gonna watch chat. If this is like unbearably loud, I guess headphone warning. But if it's unbearably loud, let me know. I'll mute my mic. So what I'm doing is torching the pot because the temperature, this board has issues booting when it is above, when it's below like 90 or so. When it's below 80 degrees pot temperature, I can't really get it to boot. So we just need to torch that to warm it up so it'll turn back on. Okay, minus 56, we should be bootable at this point. All right. Can you test scaling with PBO on? I'm not going to do that. You'll see why in our video we're finalizing after this. All right. Besides it's neat, is there a point to LN2 tests? Is it even possible to run an LN2 setup? Three things. One, the point of this was pretty obvious. We were able to demonstrate scaling from 80 degrees Celsius, which is, by the way, above ambient, that's a normal operating temperature, down to negative something, 80 or so. So yes, I would say that is a great use of LN2 as a utility. Second question, can you run an LN2 setup? Sorta. We did a game streaming, or a gaming benchmark, like all the way through the game test with LN2 on our Kingpin card, and did actual benchmarks with it, actual gaming with it. Now, is it practical? No, but it was interesting. Oh, and then the third part of it, you can watch our video with the overclockers on Extreme Overclockers Respond to Mean Comments, and that was the main one I asked them. Okay. Let me get a couple of the comments or the super chats. Troy Balster, $1. Thank you. Vortex, 1988, $5. Any word on when a 3800X review will be coming out? We need to be in possession of one first. It's cycling right now. It's trying to boot. Should get there eventually. So once we can get one, the review will be out. Actually, mediocre overclocking, $2. Dummy thick. Okay. Bearded hardware, $199. I'm gonna go for. Oh, it scrolled up. I think that's telling of Joe Scott. I'm gonna go for versus. I'm gonna go at Slack at the pool. I'm gonna go for V's. I don't know. Okay, we have successfully booted. So the reason basically the issue I discovered with this setup yesterday, I don't know if it's a CPU thing or a board thing or a specific CPU thing, but it'll run fine in Windows up to a point till about minus 86 to 90 pot temperature. The LN2 pot temperature is right here. And that thermocouple is going into the base of the LN2 pot. So when that says minus 90-ish, it blue screens from Windows. And then if it's below minus 60 or so, I can't get into BIOS. So that's why I was torching the pot to heat it back up. Okay, so let's just change some actual settings now that we're done with the precision boost, not overdrive demonstration. All I'm doing is turning off the overcurrent protections, and that will allow us to set whatever frequency and voltage we want without running into a power limit. Let's just start at let's get a baseline in. Let's do 1.4 volts, and then let's set it to, I don't know, 43, not 743, 43, and we're just going to leave memory set to XMP for this, and we'll run Cinebench. Doesn't really matter much. I think that's all we need to do. So we're going to get a baseline score. What does 4.3 do in this Cinebench test? And then from there, we can start tuning it a bit more. Yeah, I should do an actual. Oh, we have stock numbers too from the previous tests at all kinds of temperatures. So I need to make a note. 43 at 1.4, which this chip can do 43 at 1.35. So we're a bit over, but and then. Oh yeah, Cinebench score. And the temperature is going to matter less at this point because we're manually overriding it and doing all-core overclocking now. So that should, I need to plug the SSD in. That should be bootable. All right, Irish Giant, $2, thank you. Nassel with a knife, still don't know how to say that. It's Canadian, $5, thank you. What memory kit would you suggest for the 3900X? I'm looking at upgrading this year, and I'm looking to get an idea. I suppose it depends an awful lot on budget. Memory is a lot better than it was. We haven't done scaling tests yet, but we've done 3200, and that seems to be a good middle ground of fairly affordable and also runs very well at low latencies. So I would feel fine with recommending 3200. I guess 36 is getting more common now. It's not as expensive as it used to be, so if you feel like you can stretch for the money. The scaling, Tech Power Up did testing earlier on scaling for 32 to 36, and it wasn't a whole lot. But if it's like a couple dollars different, then whatever. 2 sticks is going to be easier to work with than 4 if you don't need super high capacities, where you can spread your pricing out across 4 sticks. That might be better, but if you just need 32 or something, you can do 2 sticks, and or 16 even. But G-Skill's Trident Z kit has been good for us. Corsair's kits have been okay, but the Trident Z kit tends to be a bit better of a on the latency front. Okay. Let me ask chat, should we run R20? Do you want R20 or R15 for this today? What, like, I mean, I know it's just Cinebench, so it's not particularly useful, but it's good for a benchmark. So what does everyone want to see? Do you even care for Cinebench? Why is it so slow booting? It was slow booting because I hadn't plugged the SSD in. R20 or R15? Waiting on chat to catch up. Okay. R15, R20. Same person saying R15. A lot of R15s. R15, R15. Okay, I've heard enough. R15 to compare with the other results we had. That sounds good to me. So where are we? We're at minus 40 pot temperature. That should be fine. It'll be fast anyway. I'll do a couple R20 runs. There's a good amount of people asking for 20. I'll do a few of them. I might not write them down as much. 3377, that was at 4.3 all core. And I guess I'll write this down, 4377. Okay, cool. This should be a pretty fun stream for demonstrating the scaling, which is the most useful part, the most useful aspect of the LN2. Okay, I wish, well, RYZEN Master will work for us for now. It kind of stops working at 1.55 volts, so we won't be able to use it later on, but we can use it for now to get started. 1.55, I don't know if there's, maybe chat can inform me if there's like some special unlocked version or whatever, but, oh, this is from my test yesterday. So we were at 4.3 for that one. So let's just go ahead and type in 4500. Is there a faster way to do this too? Am I gonna have to type, is there like mirror speed of, oh, nice, okay, perfect. That's what I want. So we're at 43, let's just go up to 45. And let's type in, for the voltage, let's go ahead and type in, we're at 1.4 now. Let's just type in 1.5 and be done with it. For a while anyway. So apply. Okay, running this in the background will impact the score, assuming it even runs. Assuming the system doesn't lock up, I mean. You said 43, so thank you. 4377 is what you said out loud, yes. 3377 was the score. Thank you for noting that. Yeah, 3377, not 4377. I'm standing pretty far away from the monitor. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay. All right, super chats. Actually mediocre overclocking, $3. Have the other $3, $5 donations kept rejecting. Noah Richard, $5. Thanks for all the great reviews. Working on my first build right now. That's awesome. And I owe a lot of what I learned to you guys. Well, that's cool to hear you're working on your first build. It's a good time to start for sure. Stuff's pretty mature right now. The architect or the process, at least on Intel side, the process is pretty mature, and on AMD side, the architecture is brand new. 3522. That is a lot of scaling. I don't remember what I typed. Was it a 45x at 1.5? 3522. Okay. And that's with, what did I type in here? 45. Okay. 4,500 megahertz. I'm kind of curious about actually about 3D Mark physics as well. So we'll run one of those and see what happens. Super chats. Matthew Way, $1. Thank you. Major Nero, $1.99. Thank you. Not going to read your comment because I don't want YouTube to flag me for some reason. JRA Infinite, MX20, thank you. How long for the restock of 3900X? I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it. And Night Raid. Oh, that's that. Wait. Interesting. Is that brand new? I don't know. I've never seen that before. Cool. Oh, it's not plugged. It's not connected to the internet. Why? Why 3D Mark? Ever since Underwriter Laboratories bought them. I'm not going to connect to the internet for this. It's not worth it. Okay. Let's just do 46. And let's see if it's stable at 1.5 volts. Oh, some people want an R20 run. I'll do one of those too for you. But we'll mostly, that way you can compare to other people who've done R20. So we saw some cool scaling earlier. As a recap for those, sorry if this is old information for you, but the original demo I did was before we did any overclocks at all. And we saw scaling from at about 78 degrees Celsius. This is all stock settings, just Precision Boost doing its thing. We were at 50 megahertz, and then at still reasonable ambient, or still reasonable above ambient temperatures, 55 degrees Celsius, which you could achieve with a good cooler. We were at 4200 megahertz. Pretty big difference there. I think we're close to the knife's edge on where this is going to be stable in terms of temperature, so let's just run it. 1.5, I don't know if it'll be enough, but we'll find out. So this is R15. I'll do an R20 run for those of you who want it. And there it goes. 3608. So it did, that was at, did I apply those settings? Let's see. Well, yes, but then I changed something. Uh-oh. Don't click on RYZEN Master, it'll crash. 3608, I think is what I said. 4.6 at 1.5. Okay. Did it crash? Yes. And what else? What do we need to... Oh, that's right, I said R20. Let's see if we can get RYZEN Master to not trip over itself. Since that's having trouble booting, I'm going to launch hardware info and check what frequency we're actually running right now. Okay. Well, the system has decided that that is not meant to be. Too cold. This board or CPU or something doesn't like being cold. Let's let it get into BIOS and I'll do it properly. Might have to torch the pot again. Okay, so someone said, Neil Fraser, $2. Cinebenching higher than my 2950X Threadripper, frowny face. It's an impressive chip. JRA Infinite, oh, I got you. Zach Gambrel, when do you expect partner model 5700 series cards? If it's going to be a couple months, I'm thinking of just hybrid modding the reference model. August is what we understand. AMD has officially said that as well. Let's do 47. I don't know if this, let's do 1.52 maybe. Let's just run like that for now. Okay, what's chat saying? F for the crash. No, R20 for us. Yes, the system did not want to allow it. Didn't want to allow chat to get what it wants. Dunsky. What's better right now, overclocking with RYZEN Master or BIOS? I always prefer BIOS to answer that question. RYZEN Master appears to kind of work. It does crash sometimes even when you're not doing this kind of overclocking. So, I don't know. I still prefer BIOS. If you're just trying to quickly guess and check stuff, RYZEN Master is a good way to do that. And then what I would do is take those settings and boot into BIOS and apply them so that you don't need to run it anymore, even if it writes to UEFI or whatever. Yeah, I don't think we have to torch it, so we're good here. Single core. Okay, sure. We'll run single core for you. I'm just reading the normal chat right now. Can you do a bunny hop and a fakie at 2 million hertz? I can barely even do a fakie. R20 is what we were going to run for people. We're at 4.7 at maybe an unstable voltage. Pot temp is at -65. It's doing all core. I think this one takes longer to run, so might have to monitor it a bit more. It's really not really getting that warm. Okay, AMD official numbers up to 4.7 gigahertz boost. I think it's 4.6. Apparently they expect everyone to use LN2. Well, so a couple things. 4.6 boost doesn't mean all core. Actually, it's not a couple things. It's just that. That's the only thing I wanted to say. 4.6 means one core, and it's been that way for a long time. So anyone who didn't know that might be new to the scene, I guess, which is fine. But hopefully they know now. 8380, I don't know. I don't run R20, but I guess I'll write that down just in case. And then those of you who wanted a, how high can you ollie? I don't. It's bikes. We're talking bikes here. I don't do bunny hopping would be the correct terminology. 8380. So R20, that was at 4.7, 1.52. And for those of you who wanted R20, there you go. Let's run a single core while I'm talking for a while, because some people wanted that too. We're not going to need much LN2 for that one. Okay. 8380. All right. i9 9900K at 5 gigahertz is 4997 at 1.3. Thank you for the quick comparison there. So according to chat, a 9900K at 5G is 4997 points. This is 8380. This is a very thread-bound workload when you're doing the multi-threaded one. Someone got the clocks higher by disabling the second CCD. That makes sense to me. We disabled SMT and got them higher too. Let's see. Super chats. Toys are for boys. 666. Thank you. Let there be no evil in your overclocking. Go, go. 5 gigahertz. We're at 4.7 now, so we should be good for that. Daniel Sterling, $2. See you at LTX. Love the content. Thank you, and I will see you there very soon. I guess like 2 weeks now. Ionic, $1. Marticus, 42, $2. Can you hug the LN2? Thanks. It's quite cold. Yaroslav Yankov, $2. Small support for all the cool stuff you do. Thank you. Brandon Green, $2. Soldered IHS, question mark. Any plans for liquid metal? It is soldered, yes and no. For this, liquid metal wouldn't work very well. Liquid metal is, it does not, it scales negatively once you go below 0. So it would actually be worse to use it for this. For ambient testing, or use liquid metal is a good solution for a lot of things, but I don't necessarily recommend delidding the 3000 series processors. You can run it cooler with liquid metal almost effectively always. That's for a few reasons, even when it's soldered. The main one is you've got that black silicone adhesive layer. If you look at the edge of the CPU, you'll see just like a black glue, and that is a silicone adhesive. So if you remove that, which you do when you delid, then you can run at a run the dies closer to the IHS, put liquid metal on each side, and the temperatures will be better. But is it worth it? Well, on the 9900K, the answer was no. I haven't done that on this, but I know Roman has. Okay. Steve Pryor, $1. Thank you. Mr. Blonde, $2. Pepper, you are Angus. Okay. John Peter Klopp, $10. Thank you. Looking at maybe building a first CAD workstation. Pod temperature, by the way, is -61. I'm just kind of holding it there because it seems to be alive at that, and we're at 4.7 gigahertz, just running single core right now. First CAD workstation on Ryzen 3 over Xeon. End of year, I usually run ECC. What are my options, or stay on Xeon? I understand Ryzen works with the ECC, but unofficial. I honestly have no idea. I haven't followed ECC related to Ryzen at all. So unfortunately, I don't have really an answer for you. I can maybe speak to the performance and ignore the ECC part of the question. I guess you're saying you're going to build either Ryzen 3 or Xeon. Budget-wise, Ryzen 3, if you just need threads for some kind of workstation workload, it's a lot of threads for pretty cheap. If you need higher frequencies, Xeon's not particularly high frequency though. Intel can get you there, but I don't know. In the workstation tests, AMD is doing pretty well, like dominating in a lot of them. Part of that is the thread count, but then also can't really brush off the cache, because in our GCC compile tests, that's not really that thread or frequency intensive, it's cache intensive, which is why you see the 3600 and the 3900X pretty close to the same result. It's because of all that cache. So if your workload uses a lot of cache on the CPU, that may be a good benefit. Hathrius, $5. What motherboard are you using? Why did you pick it? I'm using the X570 Master, and chose it because this is the one we've been working with the most since before launch. So pretty familiar with it. The VRM is more than enough for this. We don't need any cooling on it. There's no heatsink on it right now. Part of that's because the cold is spreading. Like, it sort of spreads from the socket. But part of it's because the VRM is really good. So that's why we're running it. Familiar with it, and I know the VRM is good. All right. Well, those of you who asked for single-threaded R20 have really inflated the length of this stream. I think we're not going to run this too frequently. It's going to be probably just this one. And then maybe I'll do R15 single thread after this, because that's a bit less agonizing. But we're more than halfway there, so we might as well let it finish. Sorry for those of you who didn't care about this and only want to see multi-threaded, but we'll limit these just because of the time it takes to run them. A bunch of new people have joined. Let me do the quick LN2 explanation and safety talk again, although this is going very fast now. Okay, it's slowing down. We're hit and miss depending on the 3D objects in the scene. So a lot of new people in the stream. To go over it again, and sorry for repeating the information, but the common questions are, what does it cost for LN2? Why don't you wear gloves? And then just what's the dangerous aspect, if any? So what does it cost? We'll answer first. That 180 liter tank is a little under $180. And that'll last us without any use, just letting it sit there. If it's kind of a not great tank, which that one isn't, it'll last us maybe 2 months before it fully leaks out and you don't have any left. And otherwise, we just try to use it as fast as we can. It's a chamber within a chamber. It runs at 22 PSI or so. I get a low PSI tank, and we're currently a little under halfway full. This is a transfer hose. We connect this into the dewar. I'm not going to do that right now because it'll be loud. And transfer hose is like $400 to answer that question. Goes into the dewar. The dewar is also this was 600, I think. Dewar contains 30 liters, and that's got maybe 50 to 80 left, something like that. And who the hell asked for a single core score? Well, a lot of people. Sorry, we're going to let it finish, and then I'll keep going. We're close now, though. It's getting there. It's really struggling on that couch. But once it hits the walls, it's good. So then the questions about things like safety, or even just how it behaves. So LN2 pretty much evaporates right away when it contacts something, unless you pour it into a container where it's just contacting other LN2 on all sides. So there's, it's gone. That's pretty much it. So it evaporates right away. This leads into the next demo that I've done already, but if you get it on your skin, as long as it doesn't soak, it doesn't hurt. So that's called the light and frost effect, and it hits your skin and evaporates pretty much, or slides off. And doesn't hurt. If you get it, if it soaks, if it soaks your shirt, your sock especially, that'll hurt. Then it'll get stuck to your foot. If you're soaking your sock in LN2, that's very bad. So that's the point where you would be concerned. And then we need a bit more in here. We're at minus 58. It's really not hot, though. I mean, low power consumption for single thread workload, go figure. And then the question of ventilation. It is displacing oxygen when you've got a bunch of it, but we're in a big open space with AC running constantly, so that is not a concern for us. If you're doing this in a tiny room, you would definitely want fans in there to ventilate the air well, because it's like anything else. If you don't have enough oxygen, you die. So, but if you're in a big room with AC, no issue, at least for us. I think that pretty much explains the LN2. So now we sit and wait. What? Gloves, thank you. Why no gloves? Let's do this one more time. I'm only doing this one more time for the stream. I did it at the beginning, but there's 4,000 more people than at the beginning of the stream. So we'll just do it one more time. First thing, if you use gloves at all with LN2, you would not use something like this, like just a leather worker's glove, because that is not sufficiently protected. So it would, if you get enough on your hand, on the glove, LN2 that is, same thing as with the sock, it'll bond it to your skin and hurt a lot. So it's the soaking that's the concern. This stuff, so this is a cryo glove. It's what you would actually need to use. I don't use them for one primary reason. Two primary reasons. You just saw me pour it on my arm and it didn't hurt. Two is handling this stuff gets really difficult with these gloves because they're thick, because they have to be. And it's difficult to pour, so it'll be less accurate, which is bad for the system's health. And it's also harder to handle. So, I mean, like, getting your hand out of there is a little bit more dangerous too. So my argument is it's more dangerous to use the gloves than not because of that dexterity issue. Anyway, that's the explanation. So hopefully that should cover it for now. Oh, we have a score. Wow, I had forgotten we were doing anything. Thanks, chat. 549 points. I don't do R20. You can let me know what I guess we have these not great numbers on the side. 7,700K, that is not a relevant comparison at all. 476. So someone in chat, go ahead and post some numbers. But I'll just go ahead and write this down. That was 4.7, 1.52 for what it's worth. 549 single. Okay, all right, that's enough. That's enough for this. Let's get a higher clock going. We can maybe revisit single thread at the end once we have our final stable all core, although you could push a single one higher anyway, but we won't do that today. I have a couple of free super chats. Here you go from Danny Banani. Thank you. Okay. I need to do some super chats and store stuff. Like I said, let's unplug the SSD. I might have to torch the LN2 pot here. No, we should be good actually. We're at minus 57. If you buy from the store during the stream, I will try to shout it out. No guarantee, but I will try to get them. Store.camersnexus.net for things like our new toolkit. This is still booting. I might have to torch that LN2 pot actually. So the GPU teardown toolkit's up there. It's got 10 tools in it. We use a CRV for these tools. We use an A3 steel for the hex heads, and that's because we have to custom grind them down to make sure they clear the capacitors on the back of PCBs. So that was our design to grind them down like that. And then the CRV for the others is a higher strength steel. And they come with some cards with basics on how to disassemble most of the modern GPUs, and you get the cool toolkit too with the GN GPU teardown diagram on it. So let's light this up a bit to get it to boot. Oh, that was the other thing I didn't do in the LN2 demonstration. Checking the oxygen in the room. Can you light a torch? Yes or no? If you can, then you're probably good. Okay. Sorry if it's going to be loud for a second, so headphone warning. You can turn them down for a second. What I'm doing is torching the LN2 pot, and that is to get the system bootable. This system, again, don't know if it's the board, the CPU, or what, doesn't like booting if it's too cold. So that should get us there. Should be able to turn on now. Minus 38 at this point. 3470, is that multi-core? I can give you the multi-core loads. We had a result, an R20 at just 4.7 of 8380 for what that's worth. And then scaling wise, when we did the above ambient demonstration, when we were at 78 degrees, we had a score of 3140. That was at 4050 megahertz. Went to 71, 3174 points. That was at 4050 to 4100, average 4075 megahertz. Came down to 55 degrees. That put us at 3246 points for R15, which was 4200 megahertz or so. So that should kind of recap everyone. Let's just push it up to 49. Let's set that to 1.6 and just see if this boots. And then after that, see if it works. I need to refill that. What is the humidity? 45%. right now, so we're actually in a pretty good environment for this. Yeah, I guess that point, the real danger of LN2 is just damaging components. So I've insulated everything. The board has Vaseline all over it. I see the super chats. Look at those in a minute. And that's to protect it from mostly from the condensation forming up here. The cool thing about liquid nitrogen versus the chilled water we've done is that it freezes, and so it's not really too much of an issue until it starts to melt. But you obviously still don't want your boards in contact with water. One second to fill this. And then we should be good to go to try 4.9. Is it booting or what? It's trying to boot. Cycling. There it goes. Okay, cool. Just started at 5.5 and work your way down. That's not really how it works. You don't just go like, let me start at my best overclock and then figure out the lowest I can run. Why would you even do that? R15, I guess. Let's see if it works. 4.9, 1.6 volts. Let's just do a multi-threaded so we don't torture everybody again. Let me get some super chats. Oh. Doesn't like it. Probably need to put LN2 in the pot. It's at -30, but we do need to be colder. So let's try that again without any changes and just cool it down. The good news is it should boot without a cold issue. All right. So we stopped the messages at XES, $10. Is it true Navi does not support Crossfire? Wondered how long it would be before you put 3900X under LN2. Good job. Thank you. I'm not sure. I asked AMD, is Crossfire supported when we did the tech day for Navi? And the same product team that was heavily misinformed, I found out later on a lot of other things, also told me that Crossfire support would be the same as it has been, which was their way, in my understanding, of saying it'll work, but we're not going to actively build for it. So I would take that as yes, but I've seen the stories on it not working, so I don't know. But these are the same team members who told me that power play tables wouldn't work anymore, and then they did. So I mean, make of that what you will, I guess. I'm going to bring this down to -65 or so, maybe. Let's try and do. Can we try and do like a top-down shot of the LN2 pot? You think you can pull that off? So it's pretty cool, literally, I guess. But this is Der Bauer's Beast LN2 pot. That's the name of it. And it's got a lot of holes in there for wider surface areas. So the LN2 soaks pretty fast, which is great. And that just means that with a wider surface area, LN2 comes into contact with more of the metal, obviously, so it can cool things down a lot more effectively. And we're going to try and get a close-up shot in a second. Give us a moment to move the camera around. You want me to hold that? Yeah. So here's we're going to try a top-down. Hopefully the HDMI feed doesn't fall out. This is risky. All right, give us 1 second. Here you go. So there's the LN2 pot. That's Roman's Der Bauer Beast. Oh, that was a little much. Good for video though. And that's how quickly it evaporates with no load. And then you've got all the surface area drilled out in there. So that's all I wanted to show. Let me check the chat. Master by Aorus. Yes, that is what we are using. Doorlet is open. Thanks. I'll get that. You got it, or okay. Okay, that's a pretty good shot. Tank lid. I got it. Thank you. Okay, so did we even run yet? No. I'm gonna run this while Andrew's setting the camera back up. Let's see if it survives. It might need more voltage if not. I think we're at 1.6. Yeah, it needs more voltage. And 4.9. So we'll bump it up to 1.65 maybe. Yeah, definitely. Let's try one more time just in case we get lucky. But I'm thinking that means more voltage is needed. We can't use RYZEN Master for this because it stops at 1.55 volts, which is odd because at 1.55 you're every bit as likely to kill the processor as at beyond that. So it's kind of a weird cutoff. It ran that time. 3832. 3832 is what we got. That was 4.9. Let me write that down because we are keeping track here. That's R15, 4.9, 1.6, I think, and 3832. So then for scaling, we had stock. Let's do a like for like. Stock at sub-zero was 4,300 megahertz. That was a 3319 score. Stock, like at a reasonable temperature, let's say 60 degrees. 60 degrees was 3205 stock. 43X all-core was 3377. 45X was 3522. It's pretty clean scaling. 3608 for 4.6 gigahertz. And then 3832 for 4.9 gigahertz. And let's do an R20 for those of you who want to compare it to the more modern test. That runs pretty quick since it's multi-core. So we're not going to do a single core again and fall for that trap. Super chats. Using PBO to OC instead of all-core OC. No, but earlier when you probably sent that message, we were using Precision Boost, which is explicitly different from PBO. Precision Boost is not PBO. Precision Boost is part of the CPU's native functionality. I know I keep saying that, but it's like a really widespread. It's an AMD problem. It's not like the user's fault. It's AMD didn't do a good enough job. They should have probably given them different names. So yeah, but to answer your question, it wasn't PBO, but it was Precision Boost. Yes, it was just native processor performance. Minus 80 degrees spot temperature. And that last one was from Skylar Mertz, $2. Recycled, $10. Is NVIDIA waiting for Big Navi to unveil a 2080 Ti Super? I have no idea if they're even doing a 2080 Ti Super. We haven't heard anything about it. Ali Robertson, $2.99. How do they chill quantum computers to 0.03 Kelvin? I have absolutely no idea. That is outside of my area of expertise. 8774 points for R20 for those who care at 4.9. I know that liquid, so I mean I can give some numbers. I don't know what the answer to your question is, I'm sorry. This stuff, liquid nitrogen is about minus 196 degrees Celsius. Liquid helium, I think, is 4 Kelvin. Chat can correct me if that's wrong. I think it's 4 Kelvin. Quick Google will tell us. Liquid helium temperature. Yeah, 4 Kelvin for that. So I don't know what they're doing for quantum computing. Ivy Mike, $5. So what you're saying is I should run an air tube from my AC to my AIO intake. Yes, that's what we're trying to say here. You should actually disconnect the duct. You should block the ducts that go everywhere else in the house and run one line from the AC straight into your computer. It would perform well. Adam Bellinger, $2. So Prism isn't enough. Be quiet, cooler needed then. Yeah, I mean, Prism is like enough insofar as with the CPU it ships with, it will run. But if you want the higher frequencies, we would recommend the better coolers. I'm going to do a couple more of these, and then we'll do some more. Actually, we might as well just reboot and get that process started. And I'll do some of these while we're going up to 5, which is the next number I'm trying. Trusty, $2. YouTube Premium gave me a free super chat. Here, thank you. I forgot about those. I forgot the YouTube Premium gives you those. Basher NZ, $5 New Zealand, thank you. What size radiator would you think suitable in a custom loop, which included a Vega 64? I think, well, you haven't told me your CPU, but let's just assume a relatively, maybe like a 3900X, 9900K, something like that, relatively warm to hot. I think you'll be fine with like a 360, or if you can't fit that, maybe 240s, something like that. Probably fine, honestly, with Let's call it a 360 is kind of where I cut it off, I guess. A fine and ideal, I guess, are two different things too, but 50x. Let's try it at 1.6. Just, I don't think this will work because we were already having issues, but let's try it at 1.6 and see if it can complete the test, and if not, we'll go to 1.65 or something. Chat, how are you using liquid nitrogen? Yes. What else is in? I'm just reading the normal chat right now. What's your RuneScape mains levels? Someone says. Well, back over a decade ago, oh man. Ooh, it's probably more like, I don't know, like 2000 maybe, played that. I was really good at fishing and wood cutting. That's what people care about, right? All right, we're having boot issues, so I need to warm this up so it can boot. And then we will be able to do the test. So headphone warning for you. Chat says, behold 5 gigahertz. Yes, yes, behold. A black screen and a torch inside of a frozen LN2 pot. Behold 5 gigahertz. I think we need more voltage. But I really do want to, I'm being optimistic here. I think if we go up to 1.65 to 1.7 we'll be good. When are mod mats off back order? The medium mod mats we have in stock, and the large ones, I think we've got a note on the store. They're being made. Googling store does not get me to where I want to be. They're being made. I think we are looking at roughly arriving on September 6th. Is like the very long, conservatively long estimate. Might be before then, but it's the problem. So the problem we ran into is with the tariff increase, we had to find ways to save money without sacrificing anything, and the best way to save money is to ship by boat instead of air. So it takes a lot longer, but then we don't have to increase the prices, which is good, because that change from air to boat saves the difference that we more or less spend on the increased tariffs. Yeah, we definitely need to increase the voltage, I think. So let's get back into BIOS. While that's getting back into BIOS, a couple store orders I'll shout out. If you pick up something from store.gamersnexus.net, like the GN toolkit or the mod mat that we're working on today, then I will try to shout it out. Man, Joe's trick of unplugging, Bearded Hardware's trick of unplugging the SSD is really good for this. So we definitely need to increase this. Not doing anything with SOC, don't care about it. Okay, and let's just turn X and P on and leave it alone. And then 1.65 maybe for 5.0. Zane from Indiana picked up a teardown crystal. Thank you for picking that up. We have those 3D laser engraved crystals with the GN teardown logo. It's got MOSFETs and stuff like that in it on store.gamersnexus.net. Nathaniel from what is this province? Nunavut, Canada. Cool. Picked up a couple of the blue beer glasses that we have on the store, the cobalt blue with the gold rim. Okay, 50 at 1.65. Plugged in the SSD this time. I read one more of these. Jesse from New Zealand picked up a GPU artifacting shirt. That's a classic one. That one is the one we made for, well, 20 series when it was artifacting a lot. But it's on the store. Doesn't have the disappointment text on the back anymore. It's just the logo, the artifacting logo. All right, what's chat saying? How's normal chat doing? Should I actually buy AMD stock right now? I have no idea, and I have no comment on stock market. The lid, it's closed. I think we need to be colder, and we might need more voltage. Although I don't want to go too cold and have trouble getting into BIOS when we need to get into BIOS. Raising the Infinity Fabric voltage will help you bring the temps further down. Okay. We're not doing any Infinity Fabric right now, by the way, for those who were asking. I did, to answer the question, how fast have you gotten it? I did just 1866 with basically stock settings before doing anything else. I thought the 3900X was supposed to launch on the 7th. No German retailer has them yet, and on AMD's store they're out of stock. Any idea what's going on? No. You need more voltage. I guess it's a limited supply issue, and then maybe AMD just favored other markets or something. Not really sure. Schwain got the Tri-Blend Classic GN shirt yesterday and love it. Well, thank you for picking that up. It's our oldest design, the GN Classic one. So what I'm going to do is increase the voltage a bit and see what happens. We're so close to the rumored 5 gigahertz. Everyone remember when these CPUs were supposed to run at 5 gigahertz based on the rumors that were very obviously not going to be true? We're almost there. It only took this. JW Dickinson, $5. It hurts to pay 80 plus USD for a screwdriver set, but I love you guys. It's 50 for the normal one. I guess maybe if you're shipping internationally or something. Shipping is not an easy problem to solve, as we've learned when you're a small company. It's expensive. You kind of forget how expensive it is when you get used to buying everything from Amazon, where it's free. All right. So hopefully it will boot this time without needing to torch the container again. Jeff Lavino, and thank you, by the way, JW Dickinson, for picking up the toolkit. I think you might have been the one asking for the beanie as well, which we do need to. We have the design. I haven't moved on it though. Jeff Lavino, $10. Can't thank you enough for all the work you do and expertise you share. Well, thank you for watching. We try to make it look like we have expertise, but right now, the system's not booting at the desired 5 gigahertz. Although I do know it will run there. So just gonna warm it up so we can turn this thing on. What was that Adam Savage quote? Am I missing an eyebrow? All right. Did the LN2 kill the chipset fan? No, it's running. It's pretty loud too, or it's whining anyway. So we did 4.9 successfully. Let's give this a cold boot. And we're trying to do 50, which I am pretty sure it can do. Someone says, yes, I work in logistics and Amazon has really skewed people's expectations on shipping costs. That is for damn sure. It skewed mine a lot. We started shipping the products in from the factories, and you're kind of like, wow, and that's the good price. All right. Make a large mouse mat. Yes, we do want to do that. It's cycling. It's trying to boot. We may end up in BIOS if it's unhappy with these settings. Okay. Someone says, Abdul Motin says, hi, it's 1:45 a.m. in the UK. Please say hi. Hi. If you talk while torching, it makes the torching loads quieter. I thought so. That's good to hear, though. Thank you. I will make sure I do that. There we go. Not sure what frequency we are right now. Windows 10 is going to abuse us all, but we'll get there eventually. It's going to do the thing where it says it's repairing it. Yep, okay. Let's restart my PC. Or do we have a continue into Windows? Yes. So hopefully that will boot at 1.68 or whatever I set. LN2 pot temperature 38, minus 38. Super chat, last one was from, where'd it go? Dual Inzelman, $4.99. Does the CPU wattage used go up or stay the same during boost with only lower temperatures? Do voltages change? Great content as always. Patrick, did you look into that with PBO? Did you hear the question? We don't need to give a full answer here, but the question was basically, does the voltage change as the clocks go up without any manual change? He was specifically asking about temperature, but did you see voltage change at all with those settings?
We saw voltage change with PBO. Yeah.
With PBO? Just leaving it alone, right? Just turning PBO on and so changes with PBO. And then as far as does the power consumption change with lower temperatures? Well, you have less power leakage from a lower temperature, so I'm not sure I'd have to measure it. We could clamp it maybe, but definitely should be lower just from lower power leakage. You get about 4% reduction in power leakage for every 10 degrees Celsius, which would then be power that can go into the chip instead if it's hitting some kind of current limit with precision boost. Let's get this a little colder. So we're going to try and do, we're finally in Windows. We're at 5.0. We're at 1.68 volts. We're going to finally try and hit that magic, that fabled 5 gigahertz number. I know Joe Stepanzi's gone beyond this, but he has been working on this a lot longer, and he's also been LN2 overclocking since literally Norse mythology was invented, because he is in fact Odin. Minus 56, bring it down some more. I think I want this at like maybe minus 65 or 70. Don't want to push too far because then it'll blue screen. Also, pushing too far too fast will cause it to blue screen. Let's see if that'll do it. Minus 73. We're doing R15. I don't have high hopes, but it does appear to be functioning. So are we going to get our 5 gigahertz number? 1.68 volts, lol. Yes, it is quite high. I would not recommend ever running at that voltage for daily use. So it worked. Does the score match the alleged frequency? No, it absolutely does not. So we are actually, I think BIOS must have reset then. Let's see. That is the score of a stock run at minus 76. And so if we run this, I'm thinking that BIOS might have reset itself. Yep. So let's do that again. Everyone had such high hopes. 5 gigahertz. Except actually 4300 because of precision boost too. Okay. How has the voltage not fried the CPU? I thought the review sample died with less. We didn't have a review sample die. But because it's really cold, that's how. I mean, I certainly, even if you ran LN2 constantly, I wouldn't run at this kind of voltage for long use. So this is a benchmarking voltage is what this is, because it'll work, but you'll definitely degrade the chip over time. You start pushing high voltages, and it's just not good for it. But it's fine for running benchmarks in a stream. Okay. Turning off all the overcurrent stuff. We're gonna try this again, see if it boots without any. It's booting into BIOS now, so I'm hoping we're past the cold issue. And at this point, if it doesn't go, then it's a voltage thing maybe. 1.5 hours, and we have not seen a third run yet. There have been a lot more. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13. We've done 15 runs, but we only did one of single-threaded. 4.3 is the new 5. Can someone explain the torch? Yes. So I use this when it's having issues booting because it's too hot. Or sorry, too cold. I try to get it hotter because I guess it feels hot. If you touch it and it's minus 90, it feels pretty hot. So the system will run Windows at like minus 80 LN2 pot temperature, but this is not going to work. We need more voltage or something. But it will not boot if it's at that same temperature. So that is the reason for it. Makes it a bit faster. Let me do some super chats while this gets to 1.7 volts now. Howdy folks, gaming, $5. After 30 minutes of gaming, my B350 with 3700X crashes. Any guess why? Tried tinkering in BIOS, but to no avail. Successfully gaming for 30 minutes and then crashing does sound like thermal to me. That sounds like a thermal behavior. So that would be the first thing I'd look at. VRM. It could be VRM thermals instead of CPU thermals. So basically, if the MOSFETs are running at whatever their shutoff temperature, TJ max, if you have the MOSFETs running at TJ max, the motherboard may just override and shut down. So that would be a likely possibility with a B350 board if it's not a good board. And then the other possibility is the CPU having a thermal issue. So those would be the places I'd look. What you could do is put a fan blasting straight at the VRM just for long enough to test that theory. And if it boots or if it doesn't shut down after that point, then you know it's a VRM thermal issue. So I just shove a fan on the top of the case and blast air in or something if it doesn't conflict too much with your air cooling, your CPU cooling setup. I was just hitting delete on this keyboard to get BIOS, but that is not the right keyboard. So we need to boot, and then we need more voltage, and then we need to hit 5 gigahertz. The Garland family, $2, just bought the Awesomeness Nexus shirt merch. Thank you. Sir Merc, $10. With the soft power plate tables to unlock Navi graphics by Igor's Lab, which unlocks sizable performance boost with very little power increase. Are you thinking of testing that out? Well, we've done power plate table mods for every other AMD launch recently, so you could assume so. It's cycling right now, so once it cycles enough to realize it's not working, then it'll get into BIOS. Actually, we could probably just hit the, oh, there it goes. I was gonna hit the clear CMOS. What motherboard are you using? I came in late from Kevin Wise, 199, thank you. We are using the Gigabyte X570 Aorus Master. And we are being limited elsewhere right now. 1.7. Oh, you know what? I forgot to raise the DRAM voltage earlier, which may have been some of the issue, but we'll just run with it at 1.7 anyway, even though it might have been a DRAM voltage issue. Okay. See if it boots at 5. How far back are we? We're about 1 hour back on Super Chats, so let me get caught up on these for a moment. Gabriel Wayne, $2, thank you. Seth Tynan, $5, says, thanks, Steve. Well, thank you, Seth. Udis Tavares, $2. Will Gamers Nexus Cups come back? No current plans. We have enough other stuff in the production pipeline that I can't focus resources on it right now. All around good guy, 02, $10 Canadian. Thank you. Rip J soon, question mark. Showing support from none of it. That's 2 of you today. Yes, I'm actually going to be on a live stream with EVGA, a charity stream with Jay, and Kingpin will be there, and we're going to be doing some overclocking. So that's on Tuesday this week. 20-hour live stream. And I'm probably going to be there with Jay for about 6 to 10 of them. We're not quite sure yet. So that'll be on EVJ's channel for sure, and then we're going to try and stream it as well. It's not happy. We might need to check the paste contact or something. I had it at 5 briefly yesterday, but only enough to test it. But 4.9 is what we've gotten so far. And it's boot cycling. Let's try lowering the memory frequency, just to give some room for it to reduce variables we're dealing with. CMOS, where's clear CMOS? Okay, really want the 5 gigahertz that rumors said we would get. We were promised 5 gigahertz. Where's my 5 gigahertz? Has he got 5 yet? No, we got 4.9. It's not quite enough. Okay, well, it's trying to boot.
I sent you a message or problems.
With the bench?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, warm it up again. You're good, Patrick. And we will, I guess, try this with a lower memory frequency, just to kind of make it a little easier. I really just, I want 0.1 higher. Is that asking so much? All right. So while I'm hoping this is going to be it with the memory change once we get it into BIOS. Let's see. Cordell Roberts, $1. Thank you. Cole, $1.99. Thank you. Will it be worth getting a 3800X over 3700X? I kind of doubt it, but we don't have one, so I can't definitively say at this time. I'm not even gonna run XMP right now. Let's just like see if it boots at let's try 1.68, 50, and then see if that works. No XMP, no nothing, just frequency on the CPU. So what was that question I had? 3800X over the 3700X. So like I said, I think it's going to be a scenario like the 2700X versus the 2700, but I don't have it yet, so I don't know. We'll post a review as soon as we get it in. And actually, I should note, for those of you watching the stream, we're going to post another CPU review today as soon as the stream ends. It's done, it's uploaded, it's ready to go. So as soon as the stream is starting to end, I'll set it live and link it in chat for you. So that's another CPU full review, start to finish review, for the most part. But 3800X is not one we presently have. Boot failure detected because there's no SSD. Okay, enter BIOS. Please don't change anything. Thank you. Okay. A lot of 3800X questions, which I guess is just because no one's had one. So I think maybe one or two reviewers have them, but we don't have any local stores that carry hardware, computer hardware. So we have to wait for the online retailers to get them in. Douglas M, 99 cents, thank you. And again, RNX Bike, $1, thank you. JRA Infinite, what cooler will you recommend with the 3900X? In a case with reasonably good cooling, which is actually important for these CPUs, as we demonstrated at the first half of the stream, and we'll recap in the next few videos. In a case with reasonably good cooling, the Kraken X62 or similar 280 millimeter CLCs with fans more or less maxed out seems like it works pretty well. So we didn't have issues with that one. So I would say about a 280 with decent fans in a reasonable case, meaning one that's not like choked off in the front panel. I'm going to bring this down. We're booted now, finally, at probably 5.0, depending on, based on last time. Let's see. Is it actually 5.0 or is it lying to me? It's 5.0. Everybody look. It's happening. In the very least, you can get to desktop and idle at 5 gigahertz. We've done it. We have achieved the fabled 5 gigahertz clock. So next it needs to actually do something. Now this is a 3900X, so it's going to be a bit harder to do stuff on this one, but what we say to the god of 5.0, not today, chat says. Anyone know what power supply that is? That is the NDXT Hale 90 V2. I doubt you can even get them anymore at a price that makes sense. They're old, but good. Okay, well, minus 68, let's run it. Just instantly gonna shut down. Didn't shut down, but it did crash. So let's get temperature a bit lower. That was a fast fail. We did it, chat says. 5.1 next. Good air cooler for the 3900X. Went too cold, too fast. That sucks. Well, we know we can do it now. It's just a matter of not cold bugging the system. Good air cooler. Just got in. Is this 5 gigahertz without LN? Yes. It is 5 gigahertz without liquid nitrogen. There is no liquid nitrogen involved in this process. None at all. It is stock. To answer the question, I think maybe a Noctua NH14 or something like that would be good. I just wasted that on too because I knew I was going to have to torch it, but it was worth it. So we did hit 5 gigahertz, and it was idle, stable. Now we need to get it back into the BIOS, and I don't think this is a voltage issue at this point. I think it's a pot needs to be the right temperature because it was running. It's just I cooled it down too fast to too low, and then it cold bugged. And so we're going to try and not do that this time. We're currently at we were at 1.7 volts, but we could go a bit higher if we end up needing it. It's just cold bugged and you pour more? Well, yeah, I mean, the guy was asking if we were using liquid nitrogen. I wanted to show that we weren't. All right. This is actually just hot water frozen on the pot. Is it still hot water then? I don't know. Does it still become, is it still considered hot water? Joe ran his 3700X at full pot after CB resolved itself. Yeah, we were talking about that. He's actually beyond 5 now. I think he's at like 5.2 on his 3700X. I need to get him up here though. Bearded Hardware, if you don't know who that is. Daniel Anderson, $10. This is my favorite tech channel. How far back am I? 1 hour still. Thank you, love it. 2 things. 1, looking at the Nanoxia Deep Silence 3 case for my 3900X build. Any familiarity with it? No, but let me look it up. And 2, your celebrity lookalike is Jason Segal. Okay, thank you. Nanoxia Deep Silence 3, I'm not familiar with. It looks rather closed off in the front, which concerns me. So get a good cooler on there if you're doing like a RYZEN 3 CPU. As we demonstrated earlier in the stream, it does matter. Look at how fast that, it evaporates super fast after the pot's been torched. So we're gonna try and not go too cold too fast this time. I'm just gonna do it in baby steps. John Tem, $5. Thank you. Joshua T, $5. Is it worth to get the X570 board right now instead of X470? Great question. Do you need PCIe Gen 4? If your answer is, why would I need that, or no, then get something else. You can save money that way. If your answer is, I don't know, maybe in the future, then it's worth considering. But if you want more detail on that, BuildZoid spent the first, I think it's just the first 3 minutes of our best motherboards for Ryzen 3000 video, which just went up yesterday. You don't even need to watch the whole thing if you don't want. Just watch the first 3 minutes or so, and he answers that PCI, should I get X570 question pretty well. So his answer is more or less no, unless you need the storage speed or something. But good question. Daniel Thorpe, $2. Heard anything about the new APUs with Zen 2 Plus Navi? Yes. We are testing them right now, but I don't know how they're doing. So we'll find out hopefully in the next couple days. Trying to bring it down slowly. Fuck. That was pretty slow too. All right, maybe 1.72 volts. Maybe that's what we need. Why the 30 to 60 minute delay? Do you see how much is going on? I'm waiting for the thing to work, and it's requiring a lot of well, a few things. One is I try to interact with the normal chat too and not just paywall it. So I want everyone to be able to participate in our streams. Obviously the volume of comments means it's impossible, but I do my best to interact with all of the forms of engagement. Oh, we were only at 1.68, nice. The other one is actually doing the tests and setup, focusing on it does take a bit of attention. So I try to keep, I try to keep it interesting because if you're just watching and you tune in and it's 10 minutes of reading super chats, that's kind of boring for people who aren't the ones who gave the money to get their question answered. So try to keep all that in mind to answer the question you had. Let's see. Sebastian, would the Corsair Vengeance 3000 be enough for 3700X? It would be enough, yes. I mean, you could always do better, but it's certainly fine. You're not going to be that limited by it. Irish Giant, $5. New video idea. Extreme overclockers respond to meme comments. We did that. No, I see. Never mind. Side note, what CPU are you using? Well played. So I think the problem is when you make a change and then you reboot, even though it gets to BIOS, so it's not cold bugging, I think if the SSD isn't plugged in, there's an issue with post or something, is my guess as to why we sometimes have issues when it doesn't quite make sense with booting, that is. What does this think the issue is? It's cycling. Does that say DRAM? DRAM, but cycling. Okay, well, I hate this part because it's going to feel like we're so close for a very long part of the stream with nothing happening, with the first half of the stream having really cool information and the middle having pretty good information. And then the last part of it's always just like that final push of trying to get the goal we set out to. But I think we will get there. It's just a matter of getting everything to play nice together so that we can make our final push to stable 5 gigahertz. So this, like I said before, is just to heat it up so it'll turn on. And hopefully that will do the trick. Okay. Straight into BIOS, set the settings again, plug the SSD in, reboot. Corbin Brooke, my first super chat. Thank you, Corbin. Martin Delira, $5. Is there a possibility to damage the CPU if it's constantly run at near 0 degrees? Planning to run a custom water loop with near freezing ambient temperatures. Jeez. No, not really. The issue you'll run into is your SSD lifespan. If you run at 0 degrees, you're cutting it. I don't remember the exact math on it. I talked to Alan Malventano about it previously. But you're cutting the SSD's lifespan significantly by going down to 0. So SSDs like to be operated, well, flash. The flash likes relatively warm temperatures, but the controller should be kept a bit cooler. So if the flash is too cold, the memory, then you will cut the lifespan on it. So that's your only consideration. But if the SSD is not under your loop, then I guess it should be fine. It'll just be whatever the case ambient temperature is. I think it might. It sounds like the chipset fan's working properly this time, so it might boot. Looks promising. I'm Fleary, my dude. 20 Swedish kroner, thank you. Is there advantage to BIOS over RYZEN Master? Yeah, RYZEN Master, the voltage stops. You can't change it once you get to 1.55. So that is the advantage. Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm not even enabling XMP anymore, and we're not doing anything with memory. 1.71, I guess, and then all this stuff, okay. I think we need to spend some of the super chat money on food after this stream. Front seat racing, 20 kroner, thank you. What's our pot temperature? It is currently 33, minus 33, so we'll leave it there. And see if it will boot. It is trying though, I see it. It's getting into the boot LED, so it's trying to go. And it has an SSD now, so it might do it. David Rose, $2, thank you. Adam, yeah, $10. In case of daily use, or it's extreme or godlike. Man, those are both so high end for daily use. You don't need either of those. I don't know. I think honestly, it comes down to like, do you want the animated screen, like the GIF playback screen? Fight me if you don't like my pronunciation. Or do you want the no chipset fan, like the extreme? I think that's kind of like what it mostly comes down to at that point for daily use. SSD's in, by the way, so. Why don't you use conformal coating to protect the motherboard? Because we're using Vaseline instead. So there's Vaseline all over the socket area, nice, and on the back side of the board. This is further than we've gotten in a while. Your PC ran in. It's so sad. It's like it was trying to say its last words and couldn't quite make it. Yeah, so no conformal coating needed with the Vaseline. I do have actually eraser on there too, the deformable eraser. Hackney, well, oh, I got you. Eric Easterly. I'm a machinist and quality engineer. The only reason I haven't picked up a toolkit or a mod mat is because I already have the same quality tools. Yeah, there's a lot of tool options out there. We obviously tailored the toolkit to use with things like video cards, but I can respect that if you are a machinist, you would have quite the collection of tools. GR Monkey, $1, thank you. Derp of Thins, $1.99. Are you thinking about using TR3 for RIP-J? I don't know that. I mean, I think we're going to be stuck on the 3175X for a while for that. That's a pretty... It's the frequency that matters for those tests we do. It's gonna go to that bio... Oh, okay. I thought it was going to go to the bio screen. Okay, all right. So is it a cold issue? Is it a voltage issue? We're at the patience part of trying to hit 5 gigahertz. But as you recall, all the rumors said 5 gigahertz stock. We're trying. I know Joe's been there with the 3700X. Seems a bit harder with the 39. We haven't used that much LN2 though. This is really, it doesn't run that hot, even with these high frequencies and voltages. It's just not running that hot compared to some of the other stuff we've worked with. Okay, well at least we're consistently getting to a blue screen. That's better than the boot cycling by a lot. Okay, let's try booting at minus 60 maybe. It's been having trouble at minus 30 and minus 40, so bring it down. It might be like the paste could have cracked or something by now too, which would mean that our CPU could be running a lot hotter than there could be a big delta between the LN2 pot and the CPU. What's the bet? There we go. Okay, boot temp is minus 60. Everyone remember that. The boot temperature is minus 60. That's what we need to know. Okay. Before everything goes wrong, let's just accelerate it to going wrong. Okay, we're going to stay at minus 68 for this. Your paste is Dunsky. Yeah, probably. I hate this error. Joe was running into that too. Okay, all right, well, I don't know. 1.8 volts, yeah. 1.8 is what the AMD internal extreme overclockers were running at to do 5.2 on a 3900X. So it is a possibility that that's what we need. Not doing anything with memory, just trying to make sure it's not the problem. Okay, boot temperature, minus 60 is what we want, which is where we are, nice. Okay, super chats while that's going. We're hoping we make it. MKT, AMD official numbers up to 4. Oh, I got that one earlier. Front seat racing, $20, thank you. Max Vrainy, $5. After your crazy schedule the past 2 weeks, I hope you have fun pushing the hardware to the absolute limit. P.S. The time on the computer is wrong. That is very likely. It is pretty fun to work on, although we're at the stage where it's getting annoying because we're so close to what we want here. And I just want it to work. It just works. Like Jensen says, Benjamin Hughes, do you know how the new Ryzen chips, mainly the 3900X, run in the Asus X470 boards? I have the Crosshair 7 Hero. They do run. We've run them in that board. I don't know. I haven't looked at how well they run. I haven't looked at like the voltage it tries to assign or anything. Sir Parsival, 777. Is there any reason to use the AMD overclocking settings in Aorus Master UEFI? Standard controls seem to work. The AMD overclocking settings, yeah, some of those do actually overlap with standard. No, is my answer to that question. Standard settings work just fine. There's a few other options in there, but as far as the ones that overlap with the standard options, I don't think so. I don't even know like where our. Let's make sure that CPU is not running above ambient. That would define the problem if so. This should read out a bugged number or no temperature at all, and it is no temperature at all, which means we should be below ambient. We should be below 0. Okay. Kind of want it to be a little colder for this, but I don't want it to crash. So I'm gonna say minus 70 or so, which is about where we are right now. Okay, run it before it dies. Minus 70. Cinebench is gonna throw that error, and then we're gonna hit OK and try again. So damn close. I'm just excited it's in Windows right now. R15, minus 71, please. God. Almost there. I'm gonna go to minus 75 now. Just kind of step it until it got further. Step it until it cold bugs. Did more that time at minus 75. We have the Cinebench issue. Oh, man. Let's try minus 78 maybe. I don't know if it's a software issue at this point. Okay, there we go. Seems to be about minus 80 where it gets unhappy. So I don't know. Might have to call it pretty soon if it's not gonna. I can try. I'll push the voltage a little higher, I guess, and then we're gonna eventually have to call it. Let me go over some of the scores in a moment. Have you unlocked anything else? Everything else on the motherboard? We've unlocked the settings that are relevant here. I haven't done any other overclocking though. Okay. Let's try that. So I said boot temperature minus 60. Seemed to boot a bit better this time though. Let's try. Might be too cold for booting, but we can get it warmed up if we have to. Blaming it on software is a bold idea given the circumstances. What do you mean? What's abnormal about this? Devil's War gameplay, $5. Want to upgrade my 7700K doing Visual Basic, Java, Python, Unity, playing games, own 200 PC games, little streaming. Should I get 3900X or 9900K? For that list, I'm liking the 3900X. Brandon Smith just got parts like 2 hours ago for a new Ryzen 5 build. Success first boot, nice. Upgrading 4770. Thanks for all the benchmark. You guys rock. Well, that's good to hear you have a successful boot. No need to rub it in. That's awesome that you got the R5 in. Daniel Sterling, 3900X MSI X470 Gaming Plus. Would I be able to OC with some success? Cooling Master 240 for cooling. Yes, you would be able to overclock with some success for sure. Let's warm it up a bit and then see if we can get it to go with the new higher voltages. Higher voltages that I think I put at 1.75, which is getting about to where we are going to have to stop. how's the, there's not too much water in there, which is good. So yeah, just gonna keep trying this until either we have to give up because it's clear no progress will be made, or until it works at 5.0 and then we'll stop there. It's, if we were stuck at like 4.7 or something, it'd be a different story. I just call it, but stuck at 4.9 when we want 5 is too close to want to give up. Okay. Duder, 99 cents, thank you. 486 DX, 33 megahertz. Hey Steve, just got the 3600 because of your review. Nice upgrade from my 1600X. What do you mean from your 1600? Aren't you running a 486? That's a big upgrade from the 33 megahertz 486 DX. Kyler Stoltz, $5. Hey Steve, I've seen you out on the trails a couple times. You should do a GN cycling jersey. Yes, I would like to do that if we had enough people who would want to buy one, but I think the minimum order quantity is probably going to be like 100 plus units on those, so don't know that we'll sell that many. Pantheists, $2. You don't have to read the stupid questions from Super Chat. Well, I just proved you wrong. Ron Chatter, $4.99. What brand of shampoo do you use? Do you use conditioner? Keep up the great work. We answered this ages ago. It's thermal paste, typically Cryonaut. Works really well. We're at a higher voltage now, right? So I guess it's a different, today is a new day than the last boot. I'm thinking the paste might be Dunsky too. So let's do, we don't want minus 80 pot temp here. That was where we're dying like instantly once we hit that. Let's just bring it to, I don't know, minus 70 to 75. We're pretty close to the edge here. 69, 70. Oh. Is it gonna do it? I feel like I should look away. Okay, all right, now does the score validate? Fuck. It's at 4.3 right now. It reset itself. Man, that was so exciting. So disappointing. DX2, yeah boy, someone says. All right, yeah, let's push the voltage up some more. Should I call? I wonder if Joe would answer right now. If Joe's watching the stream or if he's still slacking at the pool like he said. Let's see. Is he gonna answer? Hey, I'm on stream right now, so don't say anything that'll embarrass you. So, what kind of voltages did you end up running for like the 5 plus?
For 5 plus?
Yeah.
Let me see. You know you can watch my stream and then you would know for yourself, right?
Bearded Hardware, ladies and gentlemen. Bearded Hardware on YouTube.
I'm trying to think. So I used up to pretty much 1.85 volts.
Oh, really?
CPU, but it had to be cold. What's your issue? Are you getting cold enough?
I'm crashing at like minus 80 pot temperature.
Minus 85? What F clock are you at?
I've left everything stock. I'm just trying to do the frequency, the multiplier, and the V-core right now.
Well, the thing is you have to set the Infinity Fabric down a bunch.
Oh, really? Set it down?
Yeah, because what it will do is it will cause a cold bug.
Oh.
So you got to set it down to under 1500. So if you do around 1466, and then just double your memory, or well, keep it on a 1:1 ratio, and just finish that way. You should be able to go colder. And if you're not going cold enough, how much are you using for? What's the second voltage? So you have the V-core, and then you have the other one. I can't remember the name of it.
There's VDD 1.8. There's
no,
VDDP.
Nope. What's the other one? The
SOC.
popular one.
You mean
that one.
SOC?
Yes, do SOC. I've actually tried SOC up to 1.5, so I had some cold issues too, and I pumped it. I kept on pumping up the SOC.
Yeah.
So just try going up lower in temp and pushing the SOC. Just start off small. Start off at like 1.3
Okay.
to 1.35, and then you can boot at that at pretty much minus 15 if you want, minus 10.
Okay,
I
got
have
it.
a weird issue where I have to basically cold boot bug at like minus 25. It's kind of stupid, but
Yeah, I'm having issues booting below minus 60.
yeah, try that first. So first get the F clock down to underneath 1500, do 1466, and make sure you double that on, or just keep it on the 1-to-1 ratio or whatever for memory. So it's gonna run at what 2966 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's number one usually with cold issues. So do that, and then I don't know, see how it goes.
Okay.
And if you're getting, you should get cold pretty decently cold then. Start at 1.35 at the one, and then just kind of see how cold you get. I think you should be able to do pretty well with those voltages.
Okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. We're kind of at the end of how much I want to try here, so because it's been a long stream now. We're very close to 5 gigahertz, but I'll try all those things.
Well, you need to get me up there so we can bench.
Yeah, we'll do that next. Do that after my next.
I can't even find a 12 core. I'm a little frustrated.
I have a 12 core.
I know.
Well, come up here and bench, and we'll do a stream together with. Maybe we can get 2 systems running or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm still gonna try to find a 12 core. So
Yeah.
let's see what I can do.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Joe. Joe, this is Joe Stepanzi on Bearded Hardware, everyone.
What's going on, broski?
All right.
See you later, dude.
See ya. So, Joe is the master. He's been working with this stuff for a couple days now. I think about a week, maybe. So did it just? Oh no. Okay, I got everything except for vCore. Wow, really? Let's try his settings. Just copy off of Joe. Okay. I did not know that. So Infinity Fabric has I just set vCore. Got it. Thanks, guys. This chat's funny. So I didn't know that Infinity Fabric has the cold issue, but that's pretty cool. Definitely check out Bearded Hardware on YouTube. He has joined us for a few of these now. And obviously has more experience with this than I do at this point, so hopefully his suggestions work. He said he was having issues booting below minus 15, which also corresponds with what we've seen. For us, it's minus 60 though, but yes, we're good to go on vCore. Okay, good. Let's see. Keep calm and raise vCore. Yes, that is what BuildZoid says. All right. So next questions. Where did I stop? Leviathan Prim. Do you think we'll see newer updated Threadripper CPUs before the end of this year? I don't know. I know they're coming out. I don't know when. It's cycling. Might need to warm it up again. Like Joe was saying, minus 15 is where he was, so HCP is going to be a bit different. Kyle Need, $2. What CPU? I can't read. It's 3900X. Thomas Dunkley, changing RAM from 30,000 to 3600 would result in how much of a difference would it make with a 3900X? I haven't tested that. Tech PowerUp has in their initial review, they have a good memory scaling look that would answer that question. So let's get it down, let's get it up to like minus 20. And then once we're at around there, we can see if this thing will boot with Joe's recommended settings. And hopefully it was all in the Infinity fabric. He was saying if it's too high, then you have issues running it at the cold temperatures. Okay. It's probably going to need to go into BIOS again because it just boot cycled since it was stuck at that low temperature. So just heating it up, get it to boot into BIOS, apply the profile I just saved, so that'll be quick at least. Infinity Fabric and memory are the big changes here. Okay, now we're at minus 16, so it's about as warm as I want it to be. If this doesn't work, then I think we're going to be done, but I would like to see it work. There's a lot of water in there now, actually, which is not great. I think that's water. Come on. Stop trying to attempt boot so many times. Need an option to limit the boot cycling. There we go. Okay, BIOS reset. No kidding. CPU's at 8 degrees. It's burning. Okay, everything is still applied. SSD. Is it gonna work or what? I guess I'll leave it at that temperature for now. API cars, $1, thank you. Danny Banani, 99 cents, thank you. VD, $1. Amani Mar, I love you, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We are trying to make the work good tonight, but after the first half of the stream, we have encountered issues. What CPU is this? By Synthsci, 3900X. It's not liking it. We might need to get Joe up here. API cars again, thank you. Critique ready. Gamer Jesus at work. Eddie Carnero, $1.99. Michael Brindley, $2. Where is Snowflake, our AMD correspondent? Probably sleeping. Although I did put a video of her on the GN Steve side channel of just Snowflake attacking inanimate objects. Was the OC and the 3900X review, the OEM, we never use the stock heatsink ever with reviews. We always use a standardized heatsink. It's an X62 at max speeds, which as demonstrated in the first half of the stream, where we saw scaling in frequency stock, 0 changes at all, of up to 200 plus megahertz. That's why we use one heatsink for it, because otherwise it's not a like for like. Yeah, so not liking those settings. I guess we'll lower some of it and see if just the Infinity Fabric changed is what we need. Seth Tynan, I saw a video description that said your mod mats were not of quality. I don't see that as being true. Well, Paul's video was satire, which I think should have been pretty obvious. But thank you for saying that you don't see that as being true. He does not either. It was a satire video. Big Al 268. Love the Allen 2 content. Just wondering, hardware info, hardware monitor, or cam? Definitely not cam as my recommendation. Hardware monitor is not great. Hardware info is my favorite. It works very well. Okay, well, let's clear that and lower some stuff. You can do this. Don't stop. Go, go, go. Okay. Just trying to read the normal chat too. It takes a lot to fry this fish. Yes, it certainly does. Yes, the question, someone's asking where are we for frequency. Let me do a recap of all that stuff if you missed it. So 4.9 is where we were booting. I might need to break the system down. I think it's probably, it might be getting waterlogged or something. 4.9 is where we were successful. Let's go through Cinebench runs. With the overclocks, so stock, like for like here, so low temperatures for everything. Stock, we were at, nice, 3319 Cinebench score, and then 4.3 all core, 3377, 4.5 all core, 3522, this is R15, 4.6 all core, 3608, 4.9, 3832, that's where it stopped being successful. R20 we ran at 4.7 was 8380 points, and R20 we ran 4.7 at 549 single. For frequency scaling, I'm going to give like 3 numbers here. At 78 degrees Celsius CPU temperature, we were seeing a 40-50 megahertz frequency. You drop that to 55, we saw a 4200 megahertz, 4225 frequency. You drop that to 18 degrees Celsius on the CPU, it's 4250 to 4300 with just precision boost, not overdrive, just precision boost 2. Overdrive is a different thing. So that was just the CPU doing what it wanted to do, which was the really interesting part of the beginning that we looked at. Don't know. I'm kind of out of ideas. I think everything is what it should be. Infinity Fabric should be turned down. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, try booting again. There's a bunch of water running down the outside of the pot last time you torched it. Looked like it was soaking through the shop towels. Yeah, it's possible. There's a bunch of Vaseline and eraser on the board, so hopefully it's fine, but it is possible that it's got issues with water at this point. Okay, super chats. Mitchell Morgan, thank you. Piao, $1. Piao again, $1. Andrew Marin, The Lid, yes, we got it. Thank you. Elysian, $5. Thank you. Billy Mizrahi, $1. Thank you. NASA with a Knife, I look forward to meeting you at LTX 2019. Yes, we will be there. Elysian, will there be a 3800X review? Yes. I'm going to read a lot of these as fast as I can right now while this thing fails to boot, and then maybe I'll just reset it at like 49 and do one finishing score just so we have a number to finalize with. Let's do that. Freezing Taz, $2. 3600 OC or 3700X for gaming. Can you overclock the 3600 to the X? Oh, we're going to publish a review right after this video ends. We'll answer that question. Yes, you can, of course. And if you're just gaming, we think the 3600 is a very good option for that. And if you're doing anything that would actually use the extra threads, then 3700X might be good for you. But if you're just gaming, we're liking the 3600. Save a lot of money that way. You can spend more on the video card instead. Zach Bowling, $10. Show us your cameraman who works for you. You do behind the scenes of Linus, but show us your behind the scenes. What? Oh, but show us your behind the scenes. We have behind the scenes videos in, on the Patreon uploads. If Andrew wants to come on camera, he can, but he doesn't want to. But we do have some behind the scenes videos up, and then we did the office moving vlog for a while. You can go watch that series and see everybody. Pickle Click, 1999. I've been drinking scotch, so what the hell? Here's some money for more LN2 content. Hashtag Captain Overclock. Thank you. And we just called Joe, so how fitting. Casey Hofer, $1. Kyle Engstrom, what's the smallest processor that can be used to make processors? Oh, what's the smallest process that can be used to make processors? 5 nanometers? Question mark. Don't know. I'm sure we'll get there, but I have no idea. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna pretend to know either. we're gonna go back to where it was working. That's not where it was working. That would be very sad. Stock settings. And all I'm going to do is get like a final run in there. Everything's been cleared at this point, so we're good there. 0.4 would be a great timing. I'll leave the rest alone. And I think we were at like, I don't remember. What were we at, 1.68 maybe? I wrote it down actually. I have it written down that I was hitting 5.0 at 1.65 yesterday, so it was probably a better amount, which sucks, but 4.9 at 1.5 volts is what I was doing. So let's do 1.55. And then these can all be left alone. 1.35. Okay. Will this thing still work with settings that were previously successful? If not, then we know there's a problem with the system needing to be broken down because it's been running too long. Patrick Wilson, hey dude, thanks for all your videos. Love the channel. Happy to finally catch one of your live streams from down under. Yes, I don't know what time it is where you are right now, but I'm assuming it's nearly the opposite time. Jason Obermeyer, $2. Thank you for all your amazing Ryzen 3000 content. There's much more coming out. We're publishing another one after this stream ends, which may be never at the current pace. DataQ, $10. Playing Civ 6 on my 3900X while watching. What do you think about AMD discontinuing Radeon 7 6 months after its intro? I think that you talk about buyer's remorse with Super. Look at the Radeon 7, because the 5700 XT is like matching it in gaming, and it's cheaper. And so its main benefit at this point is going to be the memory, which we show is actually useful in some of those production applications. We published a workstation benchmarks video. I think the system's done. Let me try to answer these while I break the system down, I guess, and we'll just see if there's a bunch of water in the socket, maybe. But 4.9 is the answer for that. I don't know. If I feel like it, we might rebuild it, but no, we can't do that. We have to do other work. We have to do another video. So let me torch this and start breaking that down, and I'll answer some of the super chats. We've got how many are there to go through? Where's that? We have a good amount to go through. Okay, that's not too bad. It's achievable. So I'm gonna do a bunch of super chats for a while. The store purchases, I'll shout one of those out right now. Thomas from Washington. There's a lot of Washington purchases today. Picked up the teardown toolkit as well. Thank you. Okay, well, let's get started on breaking it down and seeing if it's full of water. So we can start with these. Question from Tiki832. Would love to see a video on how these CPUs handle very large LAN history Dwarf Fortress world generation. I don't know how to test that. That's the first challenge, is I wouldn't know where to begin with benchmarking with Dwarf Fortress. But if someone wants to like email me a guide, I mean, if it's relatively easy, like install it and click go, then I can try it. Vitor Vazraya, are you sure that isn't a 7980XE? Quite sure. Since it's too cold, everything's frozen to it. It is not a 7980XE. Next question, Mr. Lima Bean. Mom, look, this brick is running at 5 gigahertz. Yeah, well, as a brick, it was running at 5. It was running at 4.9 successfully, though. Any plans to do a vid about Radeon image sharpening and Radeon anti-lag features? Curious if it's just marketing BS. We did start looking at Radeon image sharpening, and it does actually do something. Whether or not it's worth it will depend an awful lot on how you perceive quality, I guess. Travis Mobley, 99 cents, thank you. Reborn, $10. Will your memory scaling video go past 4K megahertz up to maybe 4.5 or 5? All videos I watch don't go past 3800. Interesting to see if high memory will push 3900X past Intel for gaming. I'm not sure yet. It depends on where it gets stuck. So Yeah, that'll depend on how far we can get our memory kits we have here. I know we have kits that can do 4,000, so we can probably do 4,000. I don't know if we have kits that will do much beyond 4,000. Here's why I think, by the way, we're having some issues, because I don't have a mount for this. Everyone should go tell Derbauer to send me a proper mount. So what I did was zip tie it to the board on that side, and then screw it into the board on this side. But we're going to see, I mean, there's an awful lot of water on here. We'll see if there's probably water on the motherboard, which would be the reason why we can't even boot at 4.9 anymore. Which sucks, because I had it at 5.0 yesterday for one run. And then I was like, okay, it works. Shut it down. But I guess that means we can do another stream. The pot does have a lot of water in it, though, actually. Which means it's not even cooling effectively. So, standard issues when you run for that long. Let's see. Zane Camp. Zanevasion. Thank you. Travis Mobley. Thank you. Ronnie Tuckerman. $5. Thank you. Alex YOLO Swagger. $2. Advice for good airflow case to get with a Kraken X72. H500 mesh is good. What else was good? That can fit a 360. The new Silverstone cases look pretty good. This screw takes forever. Kevin Davis, thank you. Zach Bowling, $5. A squirrel is constantly trying to steal birdseed from feeders. Do you recommend I update my 1920X to a 2950X now, or wait for a new Zen 2 TR? I don't understand. 2950X if it's on a good sale. I don't know how long until Zen 2 Threadripper. When will you be putting out a new Coheed and Cambria album? Keep up the good work, thank you. Same time Tool puts out a new album. Player One, $10. Asks, did you see that level 1 text? Hang on. Did you see that level 1 text got the 3900X to 4.5 by disabling PBO? Well, PBO, oh man. This is going to be like the conversation for this whole platform because AMD couldn't name their things properly. PBO is not stock. It should be disabled by default. Precision Boost might be the one you're thinking of. PBO is not Precision Boost. They're distinctly different things. Anyway, the question, by disabling Precision Boost, I would assume, because PBO should be off, so they shouldn't have to disable that. I don't know all the newfangled AMD technology the kids are using. Will this be something to look into further? Yes. So a lot of people, this is not the user's fault. Like AMD's naming on this is really not good. AutoOC is another one that is not a great name, but yes, the answer is yes. It's worth looking into further. We actually have a video that's done. I need to finish the back half of the script read after we're off stream here, and then that'll be live so you can watch it. Let's see. Let me publish that other video too. We've got that 3600X review. I can set that live right now. There's so much water in this thing. And we're going to have the classic AMD CPU stuck to the cooler issue. One sec, I'm going to publish that. Okay. So 3600X review is going up. I'm going to keep reading the rest of these super chats. For those of you who want to hear your super chat read, I am going to get to it. If you don't post anymore, I'm going to cut it off here at 9:45 Eastern time, assuming that time is correct. Whatever the clock says on my computer, basically. There's a new video, but I'm going to keep reading super chats. Go ahead and open that and pause it or something if you want to see it. That's the 3600X review and versus the 3600. Anyway, back to the questions. Did you, Dame Fledfarek, did you ever freeze ruin your glorious hair? No, I do not freeze it. R1 Live. Trade you my GTX 960 2GB with coil wine for a 4GB V? What is that? Radeon, oh, Vega maybe. I don't know. So 4 Casey Hoffer, $5. Any chance the recent Intel 10th gen leaks hold water? They are fake. That is the truth. We confirmed that. It's going to be in our next news video. The Intel leaks are fake. I'm just trying to break the paste right now. Next one. Then, and by leaks, I mean someone made that slide, like not at Intel. Nathan Allred, appreciate the content. You should do a video with Ian Cutchess at the next event. Dude is a beast, so David Cantor will totally understand. Yes, Ian is another very knowledgeable individual in the space. So that is certainly in the realm of possibility. I've spoken with him at the event. Check out that water. You ready? There's a lot of the problem. You get that much water is enough to cover the whole base of the LN2 pot, so we're having issues with even just conducting at this point. It's been running too long. Running too long is the problem. Yeah, well, that's not an issue anymore, I guess. Okay. Next question. Vortex, would a custom loop be worth it for Ryzen 3000, or would it not make enough of a difference to clock over an AIO? AIO is going to be close. They're going to be pretty similar. Here's, by the way, a bunch of water in the socket area anyway on the eraser. So, and there's water. So, I mean, the motherboard's alive and everything. It's just that once this starts happening, stuff acts funny. And what we're going to need to do is let it dry out probably overnight and then come back to this and just start at 5 for the next one. We're going to have to, yeah, the CPU's got water on it too. So everything still works. It's just that it's waterlogged. So we'll let it dry out and then do another one at 5 sometime. Start at 5 gigahertz, and then hopefully that will work straight away. But we have found the source of the issue we were having where it stopped booting eventually. Let me get another question before I do this. What? NZ, $1, thank you. 10 Crusader, $2. You're the man. Thanks for the awesome videos. Thank you for watching and for supporting. Kevin Davis, $5. How long did it take you to grow your hair out? Are you worried Alan 2 getting into it? No on number 2. And I don't remember, but a while. Ascension Enigma. Steve greater than Jay. Thank you. Techman T. I'll be on stream with Jay on Tuesday, by the way. EVJ is hosting us for a battle. Techman T, thanks, man. Thank you. Zachary Ramsey, $10 or $1. Thank you. And Peltier, $5. Keep doing what you do. By the way, love your mountain bike videos also. Thank you. Those are on the GN Steve channel. Corey Schroeder, $10. Signing anything this stream? No, we were not. I've got my poster and mouse pad. That's awesome. Itching for some more. Also 1.68 volts. Quote, I reject your reality and substitute my own. That's one of my favorite quotes from Adam Savage. Yeah, 1.68 was certainly getting there, but obviously Joe's running even higher than that. This stuff's pretty awesome, by the way. It's just contact cleaner. I blast out the socket to get that paste out of there. Willbound, $5. Will you do a case awards show and a CPU roundup this year? Yeah, cooler roundup, yes. Do you recommend any air coolers or cases budget off the top of your head? The 270R is probably really cheap now, the case. It's fine. The RL06 is good. The, what is that one? NR600 from Cooler Master. That's pretty affordable too, as an airflow case. Wadons, what is the best X570 board in the $360 to $400 price range? Buildoid's got a video on exactly that on our channel. You should check it out. Tony, $2. Take my free money. Thank you. Douglas M. What CPU is it? It was the 3900X. It's still working, but it needs a break. Damage, or damage, I guess, if you take the space out. I have two 1080 Ti's and SLI. Do I wait for the next gen or upgrade now? I'd wait. Those are pretty hard to beat. Also, second super chat from that person. Also, love you guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Anton, 379 rubles, I think. Best wishes from Russia. What do you think of the Threadripper 3 processors? Is it possible to expect 64 cores? I have no current expectations because that's the best way to be disappointed. Not sure. But I can tell you that I've got a cameo in Pro High Tech, which is the Russian YouTube channel that covers tech. I have a cameo in there coming up regarding Shadow of the Tomb Raider pronunciation. Logan Van Duysen, $10. how long would you recommend waiting to purchase the new gen GPUs? Do you need a card now? Yes or no? If it's no, then just wait. Jens Dibmos 222. Awesome stream. Still on the 1600 3.9 gigahertz, 1.325 volts. That's pretty good. Hard to beat that. I've got a lot more to read here, but we're going to go through all of them. Fabian Reich. Stop using advanced meme devices. Well, if memes are like being very competitive at the price, then I guess that's what they are. Andrew Roofcar. Does the 3800X OC better than the 3700X? I would assume on average they're about the same. All of these CPUs are about the same. Might be binned a little better, but doesn't matter at that point. I don't know. You're fighting over 50 megahertz maybe. Patrick G, nothing but love for your channel. All the hard work you put in to make sure us nerds are well informed. Thanks for the content. Well, thank you for watching. Bazinga X, title says 5 gigahertz and beyond, so you can't stop until you exceed 5 gigahertz. Well, we did when we did the pre-testing. Joe might have to come up here for a follow-up. The SA Boy, $50. Thank you. At what temperature does Intel and AMD cold bug? Have you tested cryogenic grease paste as paste under LN2? It shouldn't crack. I have not actually. Interesting option. What temperature? It was minus 85 for this one, and Intel's all over the place, but it can be anywhere from minus 110 to minus 160. Dead Joke 666, 9900K or 3900X for gaming and streaming. Both are fine simultaneously. You'll get, if you're okay streaming at a completely acceptable H.264 encoding rate of like faster or something, 10 megabits maybe, 6 megabits, doesn't matter. You can get a higher in-game FPS on the 9900K and still sustain the stream. If you want, for some reason, a different H.264 encoding quality, then you can go 3900X. Michael Vernon, $2. Go, get that 5.1. Nope. I'm following my dude. When will we get that fabled 7.7 gigahertz on the FX series processors? You could do that. Creepyonia, hi Steve, I'm a fan of your content ever since. Keep up the amazing work. Greetings from Austria. Anyway, what all-core OC would you expect on an MSI B350 Gaming Pro with stock cooling? With the new CPUs, not super high. With stock cooling, maybe 3.9 on a platform like, a 1000 series, 3.9, 4.0 on the first gen. Maybe, depends on how many cores you've got. It gets hot. Justin Hastings, do you know the power draw at these clocks at all? No, but we can check next time. Joji, $5. Would you still recommend the thermal paste patterns you did for Ryzen 2000 as 3000? Yeah, it's just make sure the whole IHS is covered. You're good. Brendan Flag, $2. Regarding the time when I picked up the torch and said we use this because it's too hot. It says definitely too hot. Definitely hot. Astral Storm. How far can you go with solid CO2? Like dry ice? Don't know. You can get it to minus. I forget where dry ice stops. To like minus 70-ish or something, plus or minus 10 degrees. Maybe minus 80. Seth, repaste. Yeah, we should have done that if we wanted it, but it's too waterlogged. It needs to dry off thoroughly. If I had Joe here to go run it to the hand dryer in the bathroom, we could do that. Is Kingpin a Ellen? He had Stepanzi cowering in fear at Computex as he ordered him around, arms crossed with a stern look on his face. They've known each other a long time. They're friends. That's just how they overclock together. Bazinga X, Snowflake would be at 6.0 by now. Probably true. How many more do we have here? I just want to make sure we get through these. Yes, we are not too far. Nice. All right, I've got like 2 pages of scrolling left. What causes the cold bug? Miner voltage too low? I'm not sure. I guess it's the overclockers who actually know what they're doing have told me it varies platform to platform. I know you can change the boot up voltage to be different from the sustained voltage on some platforms, and that helps. But I think it's to do with the CPUs. I'm not sure. Jonathan Davis, buy a pizza on me. I am starving, so we will do that. Thank you. Kanza, I'm an Aussie going to LTX. Will you bring merch? Can I order some and pick it up from you there? I might bring a couple toolkits with me, but we're not bringing. I mean, it's whatever we can fit in the checked bag. But certainly, you could buy something there. if I have it. It's probably just going to be toolkits. I'm also giving Linus's team a lot of mod mats to use for their tables. I think we're giving them a 6, plus whatever they already have. And then I think we're going to give those away once the show is over. Auk, $5. Need to upgrade LN3. Yes, we do. Adam Schumann Sr., in your expert opinion, will a 3900X run okay in a Crosshair 6 Hero? I'm actually not sure. X370 I'm a little fuzzy on. Crosshair 7 Hero, no problem. Crosshair 6 Hero, I am not positive how the BIOS behaves. It'd be more of a BIOS concern for me. Kyle Dunbar, you look tired. Here's $10 towards a trip to come shred bikes in the legendary trails of East Kootenays, British Columbia. You can do it. Well, I'll be up there in Whistler after LTX. Andre Dolesky, $1. DK, $10. Tim Wolford, $5. It says applause for the 4.9 gigahertz. That was a long time ago. Supa Soka, any plans to review the 3200G, 3400G? Yes. I'll buy your favorite pizza. That's my final offer. The answer is yes. We are reviewing them. Unbox me. Burn the score. We're getting close to the end of these. Andeadis Butler, $5. What's the oldest board you have used for a build and overclocked? I have an MSI 955X Platinum, never been used. The one I overclocked, probably Nehalem is where I really started doing that. X50, Asus X58 Deluxe, I think. Josh Ricker, some B450 boards have PCIe 4, tough B450. Well, if they're not using the newest AGISA, where AMD toggled it off, or if they dug up the binary and figured out you could enable PCIe 4 on any of the boards, whether it works well or not, it's different, but that's cool though. Jay Daniel, $5. Hey, one note on that too. You need to use Ryzen 3000 to actually make use of it. Give Snowflake some love for me. I have a 3600X at 4.3 all core at 1.45 volts. Is that good? 1.45 is kind of high. I would not use that long term. Definitely get that lower if you can. Like 1.4 below, and maybe lower than that, but 1.4 for sure. Ko King Kun, $2. Any news on the Asus Impact or Strix ITX release? No, I have no idea when they're coming out. Nick G, 440. Recommend watt power supply for 3900X and overclock to 1080. Should be fine on like 600, 650, 650 maybe, be safe. Jared Melton, $2. Check your damn mount. Yes, it was bad. Matthew McCullough, no message. Tiki 832, just bought a 3700X, upgrade my 2700X, which is 4.15. Think the 40 TBDP drop will help push the 3700X more. Yeah, you'll probably be able to go higher just because the CPU is a bit easier to work with too. Are you going to test games with priority at 1CCX, 3900X? Maybe. We have a lot of other stuff in the pipe. We do have I want to do LN2 gaming at 4.9, I guess, or 5.0 if we can get it. The Dangstone Memory, V-Core is at auto. We've got that. Chaos 7 Theory, what's the F-clock limit you've hit? Hoping for 2000. We stopped at 1866 when we played around with it, but haven't done more. Phobia, is it worth upgrading 5930K to Zen 2? That's getting long in the tooth, so probably. Well, it depends. It depends on what you're doing, but you'd have to look into production versus gaming stuff. Michael March, can I run a 2080 Seahawk with a 2600 CPU, or should I upgrade? You should be fine. 2080 Ti, you're definitely going to bottleneck. 2080, you'll be close to it, but Serpent XSF, glad to see you and your team got rest finally. Not yet. We're almost through. One more page left. Nick Mosley, planning to do a full 3900X build. What RAM speed and brand do you think is best? Is it worth waiting for the upcoming G-Skill Neo kits? I have one coming in. I don't know. But the G-Skill Trident Z we've had good luck with. The 3200 megahertz seems like a good, affordable middle ground. 3600 is fine, but I like the Trident Z kits. I'm sure there's other stuff, but we haven't gotten the Neo in yet. Patrick Wilson, thank you. Patrick Wilson, I quote, I have to be matter of fact. The mat is not flat. That's all there is to say about that. Quote from Paul, maybe. Jake Rosendahl, $5. Greetings from Washington State. Currently waiting for my 3900X. Yeah, that'll be a nice system when you get it in. Sensei, can you get Linus to T-pose at LTX. We might be able to trick Linus into doing that. Mitch Peterson, most cost-effective CPU for handbrake transcoding, 3700X, question mark? Probably. Once you start getting too many threads, you need to split it into 2 processes, so that would keep it the easiest. Rancy Tamblin, $5. Love you, buddy. Well, thank you. Ali Robertson, campaign contribution, Tech Jesus for president. Note the first counter campaign ad will be can't even get it to 5 gigahertz, even though it was working yesterday, but close enough. 4.9. Robot Tech TV, do you think the 36, we have like 8 more of these. Think the 3600 is enough for streaming on Twitch without frame drops, only 1 PC, no capture card? If the game isn't too CPU intensive, yes, you can make it work. Maybe like very fast or something, and then 6 megabits per second. I think it's workable. You could do some priority or affinity tuning if you need to. Sean Newby, please don't read this. Thank you. Okay, thank you. That was actually where I did cut it off. There's only a couple more there, so I'll go ahead and just hit those. Kavik, any water block manufacturers making custom blocks for Ryzen 3000 series off of center heat source? Yes, but I don't know when they're going to be out. EK, I think, is working on stuff. Martin Delira, $1, thank you. Aaron Hess, I appreciate your interaction with the viewers. Thank you. Well, it went on a long time for these, but I fell behind, so sorry about that. Neil Gorge, Vega 56 price is really low. Is it a good option? If it's really, really low, like below 5,700, and I don't know, like, yeah, it's still a reasonably good option. R. Smith, Q with the great coverage, thank you. This is going to be it. Thoughts on using 3600X on a lower X370 board? Should be fine as long as the BIOS is going to work with it and the VRM isn't terrible. Okay, that's it. That's all of it. So thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out while we did all this. I don't think I'm going to, like, we could try and, how wet is the board? It's still frozen underneath. I don't know. I don't know if I want to rebuild this and try for 5, because I think it probably needs to be blown out completely. So, no, we're going to stop, because pushing right now when it's this wet is a good way to kill the processor, and nothing's dead right now. So we're going to stop there. All right, so yes, we've read all the super chats. That's going to be it. 5's doable for sure. It's just I'm going to have to start at 5 next time. 4.9 is where we ended. We got some really cool data on Precision Boost 2 scaling at the beginning of the stream. We will recap that for you in a separate video, and we got to finish our other video that Patrick was working on now. So thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. We'll be working on more Ryzen content in the immediate future, and then we're going to have a brief break while we go to Overclock versus Jay at EVGA headquarters. So that'll be pretty fun too, but I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching. I will see you all next time.